From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting. Originating from the Kern County Administrative Center, located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue in Bakersfield, California. Grounded in ideas, energy, and innovation, Kern County's vision is to be a driving force for the world's fifth largest economy, and our mission is to exceed expectations of the communities we serve, changing the way they feel about government, those who manage it, and the services it provides. Today's Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Okay. Board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Peters?
Here.
Supervisor Parlier?
Here.
Supervisor Flores?
Here.
Supervisor Couch? Supervisor Perez?
Here. Supervisor Couch is at a Casera meeting, which is an obligation of his as supervisor and as a member of the Casera board. That is the meaning and the purpose of his absence. Purpose, actually, or explanation. But he will be here as soon as that meeting convenes. He will be joining us here on the dais, so you will see him shortly. This morning, we have an exceptionally important and special flag salute by our very own Sheriff Donnie Youngblood. I'm going to share some things with you about him that I'm pretty sure you do not know. And this is a very special moment for me, Donnie. Thank you. Sheriff Donnie Youngblood is a lifelong native of Kern County, also a fellow East Sider. He attended East and West high schools and graduated from Bakersfield College. He enlisted in the United States Army in 1968. Serving 14 months in South Vietnam. Following his return stateside, he spent his last year in the military as an Army drill sergeant, preparing young men to defend the United States of America. He left his military service in 1971. Sheriff Youngblood joined the Kern County Sheriff's Office in 1972 as a correctional officer assigned to the Lerdo facility. 2 years later, he entered the basic academy to begin training to become a deputy sheriff. During his 5-decade span with the sheriff's office, Sheriff Youngblood worked in all areas of the department, including the patrol division, court services, narcotics, Boron substation, East Kern substations commander, watch commander, air support division commander, and detectives. Sheriff Youngblood obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree in Administration of Justice and a master's degree in Public Administration from Golden Gate University. He is an alumnus of the 144th class of the FBI National Academy and is also a graduate of the Post Command College. Sheriff Youngblood is the longest-serving sheriff in Kern County. He's the highest polling politician as well, absolutely beloved in Kern County and beyond, respected, admired for unparalleled integrity, decency, and morality. Sheriff Youngblood, if you would please lead us this morning.
All it means is I'm old.
On
behalf of the 54,000 plus soldiers who did not come home, we honor them. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and thank you for your service, Donnie. On top of being incredibly well-educated and brilliant. Donnie Youngblood is also hysterically funny, if you don't know him. He has an incredible sense of humor and a wit that is truly, genuinely special and unmatched. Thank you, Donnie, for all that you do. The consent agenda, we will move to the pet of the week, and I'll ask our director, Nick Cullen, to please make his way out here. You have a very, very calm doggie this morning. I learned that this is one of our fellow senior citizens. You're not alone, Donnie. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? A lot of wisdom in this room. I understand this is one of our older pets, very calm, a lot of stories I understand to tell, a lot of wisdom to share. Who do you have here, Nick?
Well, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. I have William. William, he's a senior dog. He's an older dog. He's nearing retirement if he's not already there. But he's available for adoption, and he's going to fit in just about any household because he's pretty low maintenance, but he's still got a lot of life left in him. So he could be adopted at the Kern County Animal Shelter today.
And what will that cost his new forever family?
His adoption fee is just $20, and that includes everything you need to be a responsible pet owner.
Is he always this chill?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, if you're looking for a calm partner in life, this one will, he'll match your energy just fine. William, you even have an older gentleman's name. I respect that.
That was by intention.
Oh, we wish you the best, William, in your next home. God bless you, precious baby. Okay. Our consent agenda is located, or agendas are located in the back of the room for you if you wish to follow along. Consent matters are listed with capital C, capital A, and I will go through them now. They're considered routine and non-controversial by staff. Sometimes a member of the board will pull a consent matter, or sometimes a member of the public will like to comment on consent matters, so we take them as each day as the moment brings. But consent matters begin on page 2, include items 1. Item 6 has been pulled by Supervisor Flores, so we'll hear that in its normal order. But also items 7 and 8. On page 3, items 11 through 17. On page 4, items 18 through 22. On page 5, items 28 through 32. On page 6, all items listed 33 through 40. On page 7, items 41 to 47. And on page 8, item 48. Are there any members of the public who would like to comment on a consent matter as just listed? As indicated, only one matter has been pulled. That's item number 6. All other matters remain on consent unless indicated by colleagues.
Madam Chair, I would like to ask that item number 7 be removed from the consent calendar as well.
Item number 7, understood. So items 6 and 7 have been pulled by my colleagues. So items on page 2, items 1 and 8 will remain on consent. Okay, seeing no interest from the public, I'll return to my colleagues.
I'll make a motion on the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on consent. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay, thank you. Before we get to our resolutions and proclamations, I'm going to exercise a chair's discretion and call a matter out of order that I intended to address during board member announcements and reports. And that is a certificate of recognition to our Senator, Melissa Hurtado, who's here present with us today. I'd ask that she make her way to the podium, please. As you see, we have 2 poster boards here that lay out some of the particulars of some of the work, a small portion of the work that the Senator does for Kern County. And you can see those, take a look at those. They indicate a total of $7 million that Melissa Hurtado was able to squeeze out of the governor and the legislature. We'll hear about that in a moment, but I'm going to come down to the podium. That is the purpose of the poster boards, and this is an opportunity to honor the senator for her work and contributions in Kern County. We do not need a vote on this matter. Come on over, come on over. Good to see you all. Let's gather around here. Okay, I'll get started, and then I'll turn the podium over to our senator. So, is Lito here, Lito? Yes. So, I had the opportunity to attend the annual luncheon at our the shelter for our children who find themselves in stunning, remarkable tragedy and dark times. We have a shelter here in town. You're going to hear about that in a few moments from Lito. But I had opportunity to attend our annual luncheon there where we get the privilege of thanking the county family who work in this facility, who care for the children of Kern County, and who bring incredible peace in difficult times to our children. And I was surprised to see Senator Melissa Hurtado, only because I hadn't seen her at this particular event before, although she's at many events. I was surprised to see her there, and I wasn't certain what the occasion was, and I saw a big poster board listed, but I really didn't understand what was happening. But a few moments later, we were informed that Senator Melissa Hurtado was able to obtain and secure $2 million for our shelter for children. And I was absolutely stunned, absolutely floored to hear this. This is a place where we are often concerned about whether we can keep it open. We know places around the state and other counties have been having to shut these shelters and facilities down because they are, of course, expensive, like all shelters are, and they require lots of funds and lots of resources. And it is a place that I have been very concerned that we can keep open. And my heart was full. I was surprised. I was stunned. And my heart was absolutely full of gratitude to the senator for her work, her contributions, and what she is doing in Sacramento to affect the lives of children in my district, East Side kids, Kern County kids. While she is far away or seemingly far away in Sacramento, I know that she has our children on her heart. So, Senator, I want to say to you today, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. We have a humble certificate of recognition, but it is a big moment for me to acknowledge you and to thank you for what you have done. It reads in honor of your service to Kern County in the California State Senate and for the many contributions you have made to uplift our community and for exemplary public service and civic contributions to the community and to Kern County. I want to say from the bottom of my heart, Senator, thank you for what you have done. I don't know that there are many people thinking about that small little place in the East Side, but you certainly were, and you took action, and you are affecting that place, our county family, and the children who are there in perpetuity. I want to say thank you, and of course, we're going to hear from you now about other dollars you were able to obtain. That was $2 million. We see listed $7 million in total, so I want to hear those details from you. I think you'll do a better job than me. But I want to present this to you. It's signed by all the board members, and I want to say thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair. I really appreciate the recognition here today. I too did not expect a recognition. I do the people's work with, it's an honor. It's an honor to serve Kern County. It's an honor to serve the rest of the Senate District. And I'll say that I originally had asked for $25 million for Kern County. And I think I know that we were in a very, in a very good situation, in a situation where Kern County could have asked for the $25 million, maybe even more, and probably gotten it. But things run really fast, and especially at the end of session in Sacramento. And there were, I just had to put something on paper and make the push, and I thought about each and every one of you and the efforts that you're trying to do here in Kern County, protecting our children. I know that's very near and dear to you, Madam Chair. Protecting and ensuring that we have adequate fire services and that our goat and sheep herders have the support that they need to continue to provide those services. And Supervisor Parlier, I thought about you. I didn't get to call you guys and give you advance notice because, again, things run so quickly. But I wanted to make that push, and I do want to give credit to someone that is not here today that others don't know that played a key role, and that's the president of SEIU, 521 Rico Mendez. We talked about it. We talked about the needs of Kern County. Obviously, I think a lot of people know here that he cares deeply about doing more for Kern, and we partnered up, and he called leadership, and sure enough, $7 million came along. So I want to make sure that he received credit for the support that he provided, not just to me and pushing to do more for Kern County, but also for all, for the supervisors and for the greater Kern County community. And so today we honor the fact that we got $7 million. Wish it would have been more, but we'll continue to fight. And $7 million, $2 million will go for child protection services. $2 million will go for, I believe I know at least $1 million. I forget, $1 million for the Department of Public Health, $1 million for the airport. I know many of you know that I've been working on Senate Bill 661. I want to make sure that we get the airport expanded with more flights in and out. That's going to be if we can get that accomplished, it's going to be such a huge economic development win for Kern County and the people of Kern County. And so I've been making that push. It's a long shot, but the bill is still moving along. So next year we'll pick it up and continue on. I think there's a lot of good potential there. But as part of this package, I made sure that we secured $1 million to make sure that the airport can keep moving forward in its plans for expansion. And then the Valley Fever funding, soil health, and $2 million for the sheep and goat herders as well for fire protection services. So I believe I said it all. If I missed anything, it's up here. And I'm sure and I hope that you'll all get to see the benefits of those dollars that were secured. And I will say that it's not an easy time to secure money for any district. And we did it because Kern County was just in a unique place. And I hope that we can continue to work together to ask for more and get more. So thank you. Thank you for the recognition.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the board, good morning. Lita Morello, your Director of Human Services. I just want to extend my gratitude and thanks for the remarkable advocacy that Senator Hurtado pushed through. Child Protective Services is near and dear to my heart. As Supervisor Perez alluded to, we had this big celebration at our Jameson Children's Center, recognizing not only the center itself, but the kids that obviously go through the system. This funding will allow us to fill vacancies, hire temporary help where we need it, and really enhance our services with Child Protective Services. And I can't thank Senator Hurtado enough. I remember getting a call from Supervisor Parlier early one morning a few weeks back, and him telling me that this is a potential, it could happen, and I was already in my dream session thinking, oh, that'd be great, that'd be amazing, and through the advocacy and hard work and effort that Senator Hurtado did, she made it happen. And so we couldn't be grateful enough for all you've done. Thank you.
Outstanding.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Denicio Mitchell, Kern County Fire Department Chief Deputy, fellow members of the board, particularly to the State's Office, Senator Hurtado, and then also Supervisor Parlier. We just want to say thank you very much for the advocacy on this sheep and goat program. Anyone who lives in Kern County knows we're no stranger to fires, and we have serious threats each and every year. But we are aggressive in our efforts to make sure that we make our communities fire safe. So any kind of funding or any kind of programs that we can get towards a comprehensive model of fuels reduction is a win for this county. So to have the cooperation from the local to the state level and all of that coming together, it's very appreciated, and we're thankful for that because there are so many threats that we face here in Kern County. But to have the aid and advocacy on the fire suppression side, we meet our goals, and we feel like we're doing a great job to make our constituents safer here in Kern County. So thank you for the cooperation from the local and the state level. Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator.
Again, I want to say thank you, Senator, for what you have done to transform Jameson Center, to give us a kind of security and an acknowledgement from the state that our senator, covering multiple counties, constantly working on a host, dozens and dozens of issues, is still thinking about the kids of East Bakersfield, the kids of Kern County, at the hardest moments of their lives. And you deserve profound, significant recognition. God bless you, Senator. Thank you for what you have done. We do not take it lightly. It's a humble certificate, but it comes with big hearts full of a lot of love and gratitude. So thank you. That's for you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Great work. I think we're good. Okay. Thank you, Chair Staff. Good to see you, Jeanette. Okay. We're going to move on to our resolutions and proclamations. Supervisor Parlier this morning is going to proclaim November 2025 as National Homeless Youth Awareness Month in Kern County.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Gentlemen, please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Good morning, Madam Chair and colleagues on the Board of Supervisors. Today we proclaim November 2025 as National Homeless Youth Awareness Month in Kern County, a time dedicated to increase public awareness of the unfortunate realities faced by homeless youth across our county and beyond. I'd like to take a brief moment to share some staggering statistics that illustrate the scale of this concern. According to data reported through the Homeless Management Information System from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024, 1 in every 12 individuals experiencing homelessness in Kern County is a transitional age youth ranging from ages 19 to 25. Furthermore, for the past 3 years, our county's homeless youth by name list has consistently identified between 200 and 300 youth each month experiencing homelessness. These numbers are not just statistics. They represent young people in our community who are striving for stability, safety, and opportunity. I, like many others here today, am deeply grateful for the ongoing work of many organizations that are collaboratively working together and whose efforts to raise awareness and provide essential support have made a meaningful impact on the lives of so many. At this time, it is my pleasure to welcome Janessa Fisher to the podium. Janessa serves as the Youth Action Board Chair for the Bakersfield Kern Regional Homeless Collaborative and is a peer support specialist with the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, where she helps lead activities and outreach throughout this month, highlighting homeless youth awareness. Janessa, I welcome you to share a few comments, and I want to present this proclamation signed by our Honorable Chair, and thank you for everything you and your team does for our community.
Thank you, Supervisor Parley and board members, for your time and support of homeless youth. My name is Janessa. I am chair of the Youth Action Board, but I do not do this work alone. I have the honor of working with my Youth Action Board. Go ahead.
My name is Cynthia Lera Martinez, and I'm the co-chair of the Youth Action Board.
I'm Adolfo Valdovinos, and I'm a member of the Youth Action Board. My name is Josiah Harding. I'm a member of the Youth Action Board.
As the Supervisor Parley had explained, Youth Action Board consists of 10 youth, current or formerly homeless youth, who use their experiences to improve support for youth who still face housing insecurity.
Homeless Youth Awareness Month is vital as it raises awareness of the unique challenges homeless youth encounter, reduces stigma, and fosters understanding in the community. It provides a platform for young people to share their stories, inspiring empathy and action among policymakers and community members.
This month also calls to action, urging local governments, organizations, and individuals to prioritize resources for homeless youth. It emphasizes the need and the comprehensive services, including housing, education, mental health support, and advocating for necessary policy changes and funding.
In our community, our Youth by Name list consistently shows 200 to 300 youth facing homelessness each month. The Youth Action Board aims to create youth-centered events to raise awareness and educate the community.
In partnership with BKRHC, this year we will also be hosting a Youth Connect event this Thursday, where over 30 organizations will be offering services to youth experiencing homelessness in downtown Bakersfield. It's open to all youth experiencing housing instability ages 14 to 24.
We hope that any youth listening attend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful.
So I'll tell you what, did you know, get everybody around, okay, come on in. You join? Come on. Thank you, Janessa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Supervisor Parlier. Should Flores do all three of his now? And then come back? And then come back on the other one? Okay, because he's also doing 6. Just take them all? You want to take them all right now?
Sure.
Flores? Okay. So Supervisor Flores is going to graciously present Supervisor Couch's proclamation this morning. As I indicated earlier, Supervisor Couch is at a Casera meeting and cannot be here at the moment, although he will be attending as soon as he is able. So Supervisor Flores will be handling items 3, 4, and item 6. So item 3 is a proclamation. Oh, got it. Oh, okay, got it. So for item number 3, proclaim November 2025 as Native American Heritage Month and November 28th, 2025 is Native American Heritage Day in Kern County.
I'll make a motion on item 3.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item 3. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Item number 4, for Supervisor Couch, thank you, Supervisor Flores, proclaiming November 8, 2025 as Touch a Truck, a free hands-on family experience day at the Bill Memorial Library. Item number 4.
Okay, motion on item 4.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
And as to item number 6, to proclaim November 6, 2025 as District Attorney's Office Victim of Violent Crime Memorial Dedication.
And motion on item 6.
And we have a motion
Second.
and a second on item 6. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
We'll take item number 3 first.
Okay, thank you for bundling that. At this time, will the CEO, Mr. Angel Galvez of the Bakersfield American Indian Health Project, please join me at the podium. Good morning, everyone, board and members of the public. Today we're celebrating our First Nations, our esteemed First Nations of the Americas. Indigenous peoples' history in the United States is defined by strength, survival, and a deep commitment and pride in their heritage and a right to self-governance. During National Native American Heritage Month, we honor the heritage and contributions of Native peoples as we work tirelessly to build a future grounded in dignity, respect, and friendship. On behalf of the Bakersfield American Indian Health Project, we're requesting that the Kern County Board of Supervisors proclaim November 2025 as Native American Heritage Month and November 28th, 2025 as Native American Heritage Day in Kern County. And on behalf of our entire Board of Supervisors and signed by our Chairman, Leticia Perez, we declare Native American Heritage Month and Native American Heritage Day in Kern County, and this is registered in our official minutes signed this day. And thank you so much for being here, and we respect you, and thank you for your contributions to our great nation. And if you'd like to say a few words, you're welcome to address the board.
Yes, thank you.
There you go.
Good morning, Madam Chair and the board members. Unfortunately, Angel couldn't be with us this morning. He's at a meeting, as always. But as noted, I am Jackie Lopez. I am the chairwoman with Bakersfield American Indian Health Project. I am also a member and also the elder chairwoman of the Tajon Indian Tribe. Joining me this morning are also colleagues who serve on the board of directors is Laura Juarez, who is the secretary, Michelle Jara Rengel and Sal Sanchez as board members, and Johnny Nieto, who serves as our vice chairman. It's always a pleasure to gather to proclaim November as a Native American Heritage Month, a month to honor the beautiful indigenous peoples and their contributions they have made to our county and to our country. Kern County has a high population of Native American veterans, and in remembrance of those we've lost, we continue to stand with those still fighting and renew our collective commitment to prevention, healing, and hope, which has always been the driving force behind our mission at BAIHP. In the past 25 years, our health center has served over 14,000 Native Americans with services that enrich their lives with essential medical and behavioral health and traditional cultural services. Recently, on October 27th, we had a groundbreaking ceremony for our Bridge Housing Project, and we are excited about future developments of our Indigenous Wellness Center, housing and substance abuse construction projects, and we look forward to the continuous partnership with Kern County agencies to bring greater wellness to all. Thank you for standing together, for remembering, and for believing in the possibility of healing and hope and the resilience of our people. Lastly, Johnny, our vice chair, will honor our ancestors by the reading of our acknowledgement.
Thank you. Welcome, Johnny.
Intesiem, good morning, everybody. My name is Johnny Nieto. I am from the Tule River Yokuts tribe up the road. Just wanted to throw a little advertisement out there as we celebrate Native American Heritage Month. This weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we are having the Tule River Powwow over by the Porterville Fairgrounds. So if anybody you want to go, you're more than welcome to go over there. It's a big celebration. We honor our Native veterans. Like Jackie said, we always put veterans first within our Native community because Native American veterans, there's a high rank of Native American veterans of this land, of course. That's kind of hidden through history, through the ranks, you know, because they've been going, because no matter what, they're here to protect the land. So the land acknowledgement, as it reads, the land acknowledgement in honor of Kern County indigenous peoples, pueblos, rancherias, and tribal lands. To the original peoples natives to this land, the area known as Kern County today is the homeland of several American Indian tribes, including the federal recognized Tajon Indian tribe, comprised of Kachanomuk, Yokuts, Chumash, Paiutes people. The Tuwabawal comprised of Tuolumne, Tuwabawal, and Palaguans people. The eastern and western Monos, Monaches peoples, Cayuses peoples, and Shalones peoples. May we acknowledge and honor our indigenous peoples who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather today in active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation for Kern County's indigenous peoples' contributions and lives. So that land acknowledgement was done with the tribes in this local area, giving recognition of those tribes who may or may not still exist but have been adopted into the tribes together. That's what the land acknowledgement comes from within this Kern County area that we call Yokuts land today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Flores. We love our Native American brothers and sisters. I would like to give a shout out to my staffer, Annie Ortega, who's in the back of the room. She is a proud member of the Tohon tribe. She is a remarkable member of my team who works tirelessly for this community. Her work ethic is profound. She also has 6 kids and is in a master's program with stunning academic excellence, recently inducted into the Alpha Chi academic community because of her incredible, excellent academic performance at Cal State. I don't know how she does it all, but she is constantly reminds us of the beauty of our Native brothers and sisters and our need to always remember them in all that we do. So thank you, Annie, for what you do for Kern County, but for also your beautiful heritage that you remind us of all the time. Thank you. Okay, Supervisor Flores, on behalf of Supervisor Couch.
Thank you, Chairwoman, and what a beautiful tribute of your staff. Now I have before me the Kern County Library and our director, Andy Sullivan, and her staff, and we are talking about 2 things that Kern County loves deeply. We love our trucks and we love our library. So it's going to be a double whammy of goodness, education, learning, exploration, family fun, and all the things that represent our dear libraries. So we're requesting that November 8th, 2025 be declared as Touch a Truck Day, a free hands-on celebration for families across Kern County. This event invites children of all ages to climb, explore, interact with impressive trucks and vehicles that serve our community, turning on lights and sirens and buttons and meeting everyday heroes and discovering the essential roles that people play that drive these trucks, from firefighters to ambulance personnel to truck drivers, you name it. We are powered by trucks. And so at this time, our board will proclaim November 8th, 2025 as Touch a Truck Day in Kern County, and this is signed by our Honorable Chairwoman, Leticia Perez, dated this date, November 4th.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I absolutely love this event. I've taken Noah to it. So many first responders, but also bomb specialists. I mean, everything you can conceive of in the world of law enforcement, first responders. You know, it's an extraordinary event. It's exciting. The kids love it. Families come in the hordes. I was really, really blown away last year by this event. Thank you so much for doing this. It's an incredible opportunity for our young people to think about what is possible for their own future, but also to just give great thanks to the many, many servants who do this work.
Yes, ma'am. And last year I had my ankle surgery, so I had my husband wheel me in a wheelchair, and I sat at the info booth, and I saw you pull up, by the way. Nice. Yes. So thank you for coming. I invite everybody else to come. Well, first of all, I wanted to say Happy Election Day, everybody. Woohoo!
I didn't know there was an election.
No, none whatsoever. So good morning, Chairwoman Perez and members of the board. Thank you so much for this proclamation this morning. I'm so excited to share the details about our upcoming Touch a Truck event happening this Saturday, as Supervisor Flores mentioned, from 10 to 1 p.m. in the Bill Memorial parking lot, and also we have a lot of activities on the inside. So this event has become a true favorite, not just among our patrons, but among our staff as well. It's one of those special days where the energy is contagious, the smiles are endless, and the library truly comes alive with community spirit. Touch a Truck is a county event led collaboratively by the library, county administrative office, general services, and public health. It's a wonderful example of departments coming together to create something meaningful and memorable for our community. Families will have the chance to explore and interact with a wide variety of vehicles, from fire trucks to police cruisers to construction equipment and more. It's a hands-on experience that sparks curiosity, joy, and learning for kids of all ages. Even adults have fun, because I've seen it. Our goals are very simple for this event. We want to celebrate the community partnerships with local agencies and organizations. We want to create memorable experiences for the families that we serve. And we want to promote library services in a fun and engaging way. So we're expecting a great turnout as always, and we've lined up an exciting mix of vehicles and activities. There will be opportunities for kids to climb aboard, meet the drivers, and learn about the important roles these vehicles play in our community. We're also proud to offer a sensory-friendly quiet time from 9:30 to 10 a.m. So this is designed for children and families who may benefit from a calmer environment. The lights and sirens will be off, and the atmosphere will be less stimulating. In addition to the outdoor excitement, we'll have plenty of activities inside the library for families to enjoy, like a corn maze, a Lego derby, a messy station. Just think about what a messy station is.
Very
it's
messy.
fun, yes. A selfie station, and a lot more. While supplies last, our lovely friends of the library will give away children's books to help build home libraries. It's a great way to explore everything the library has to offer while taking a break from the action outside. And of course, no community event is complete without great food. We'll have local food vendors on site offering a variety of tasty options for families to enjoy while they explore and play. So thank you again for this support. We look forward to seeing many of you this Saturday. And let's make this year's Touch a Truck the best one yet. So I have a little video to show. Video gods, can you play Leo?
All right. It is so much fun. It's just so fun. Kids get in the vehicles, they get to touch them, they get to push the buttons like you say, it's extraordinary.
And I wanted to introduce Genevieve, who helped coordinate this event. She coordinated this event. So go ahead, Miss Genevieve.
I just want to tell you a little bit about the amazing mix of vehicles we're going to welcome this Saturday. We've got a fire truck, we've got an ambulance, we've got 2 garbage trucks this year. We've got tow trucks, crisis negotiation vans. Because we're Kern County, we've got an oil tanker and a farm tractor. Nice. There's going to be something for everybody. Touch a Truck is possible because so many of our partners believe in creating joyful community experiences for families. So we're so grateful to our county departments partnering with us this year. The county admin office, general services, public works, public health, the sheriff's office, probation, fire. This is like everybody. This is everybody in the county coming together. We've got a lot of great community partners. Cox Petroleum has been partnering with us for years, so we love them. Shout out to Cox Petroleum for bringing an 80-foot tanker every year. Hall Ambulance, MJY Towing, Burtech, and Sons Ray. These partnerships turn Touch a Truck into a true community celebration of learning and connection. Because we know that learning builds an appetite, we did invite some local food vendors. So we've got some favorites: B-Town Burgers, Teppanyaki Guys, Warm and Toasty Donuts. Those are my favorites. Get It Twisted is coming. And then Pizza Perfection. So you can grab a treat while you're out there and make a whole day of it. I'm going to pass it over to my good colleague here, Farah, to continue.
How fun. Love your energy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Farah Dradia, and I do marketing and promotions for Kern County Library. And I wanted to talk a little bit about Touch a Truck and how it's such a powerful tool for workforce development in our community. It sparks interest in transportation. It offers hands-on learning and connecting industry professionals with our next generation. This interactive community event, where children and families explore trucks, heavy equipment, gives the opportunity for kids and teens to get their hands-on experience with vehicles, tools used in logistics, construction, public service, which then sparks that interest for technical careers like trucking, mechanics, logistics, and emergency services. Families then can go inside, enjoy even more fun activities, and then check out books that help them learn more about these vehicles and the everyday heroes that drive them. So I hope, and we all hope, to see you this Saturday, November 8th from 10 to 1 at our Touch a Truck event, and I bought flyers so you guys don't forget.
Yay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It really is so much fun. If you have kids, please take them. They really have a fabulous time. And the county family works really, really hard to put on something very special and very fun for families, but, you know, oriented towards the kids, of course. Okay, busy morning for you, Jeff.
Yeah. So lastly, but also most importantly, I have a very special proclamation that was on consent, but I decided to pull it off because of its significance. We're proclaiming November 6, 2025 as the District Attorney's Office Victim Violent Crimes Memorial Dedication and Crime Victims' Rights March and Candlelight Vigil event in Kern County. This is a very somber, beautiful, dignified event that happens every year, but this year it's of increased significance because they're installing a beautiful monument to the victims of crime. And I saw it last week. They were delivering the big granite slabs. The whole place has been converted between our building and the courts. And it's going to be a beautiful place of restoration, of reflection, of peace, of memory for these people that have passed, and those that are living that can still honor them. There's to be a special event this Thursday with the District Attorney's Office, with the faith community, with family members paying tribute to this. And at this time, I'll ask our esteemed District Attorney, Cynthia Zimmer, to come up and say a few words about the monument, about what was involved in issues associated with this special evening where we honor justice. And she's the tip of the spear for that justice. And thank you, our District Attorney. I have the proclamation here. I'll read it real quickly before she takes the mic. Our Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern have officially proclaimed November 6, 2025 as Kern County District Attorney's Office Victims of Violent Crime Memorial and Dedication and Crime Victims' Rights March and Candlelight Vigil. Entered this day in the official board minutes signed by our Honorable Chairwoman, Supervisor Leticia Perez, dated this date. Thank you, Cynthia Zimmer, for all your work that you do throughout the year, and we're well served.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Chair, good morning, and members of the board. Thank you so much, Supervisor Flores, for those kind words. I'm joined today by Assistant DA, where are you? Joseph Kinzel, and our Public Information Officer, Danielle Gonzaga Garcia. This is a special day for us. We've had a Victims' Rights March every year for about 10 years, but this year we're going to be dedicating a monument. We put in a lot of work in order to determine what would be appropriate, what would be meaningful to the victims of homicide, and that is who this is honoring, victims of homicide. We went back 159 years to try to include all victims of homicide, and we were able to find the names of 4,456 people in Kern County since its inception who were murdered. Those names will all be included on a list that we're going to place down into a vault under the monument called an ossuary. So we're going to have a candlelight vigil, as was stated. We hope it's going to be a very meaningful night. I want to thank you, the board, for supporting us in this project. It means so much to us and to the members, the family members of these victims. I also would like to say thank you to General Services, Kern County General Services, because they have been the project manager involved in this. They've been excellent. What a wonderful department headed by Michelle Burns-Lusich. The engineers and the people that were involved out there at the scene, making sure that that monument was perfectly placed and was something that will endure for generations. So I just want to give a shout out to them because they have been fantastic. So thank you for this recognition. I hope to see you out there, or people that are listening, that they will come out and remember and honor all those victims who lost their lives unnecessarily to a violent act. Thank you.
Cindy, I was really taken by your presentation at the First Responders event last week. You said some things there that you didn't say today. I was hoping you would say, so I'm going to say them for you. But you indicated there, in addition to the victims, people who die as a result of a violent act, you listed a amount of people that are impacted directly per individual, that either through the detective process, through the justice process, and of course the loved ones that are impacted. And you stated some numbers that were really profound and prolific. And I can't help but obsess over Netflix crime documentaries like much of America. And when you watch those, you really, really get a sense of how many people are really, really impacted over a lifetime. And not just the relatives and loved ones, but the people who do the work, often for decades trying to find answers. It is really an astonishing figure that you indicated here today, but also at that event that I've been thinking about quite a bit. The amount of people impacted by these acts is absolutely astronomical. And so I appreciated your presentation there. I think this is an incredible moment. Thank you for doing it, and appreciate all that you do.
Thank you, Supervisor. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Flores. We're going to move to item number 5, which is a proclamation for November 5th through December 6th as the 38th annual Holiday Cottage Days in Kern County. Is it already Christmas season? Supervisor Parley, I can't believe it. But this is, you'll be presenting, oh my gosh, forgive me. This Supervisor Peters, forgive me. Supervisor Peters, I'm going to ask you instead. Is it already the Christmas season?
Mariah Carey is on her way out again.
Please say it ain't so.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Peters. Thank you for the second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. It's my honor to share this proclamation proclaiming November 5th through December 6th, 2025 as the 38th annual Holiday Cottage, Cottage Days in Kern County. This was begun in 1987 and has helped thousands of foster youth throughout our county. These young kids range in age from newborns up to 21 years old and everywhere in between. They've got a unique set of challenges, difficult circumstances often, and this is an awesome way for our community just to do something small to let them know that we're thinking about them and that they're cared for. So I'll let Lita Murillo talk a little bit more about it, but I just want to encourage everybody to either come out in person or visit kernholidaycottage.com if you're able to help. There's over 900 foster youth this year that are looking for a gift to get their Christmas wish fulfilled. So I know our community can pull together and make that happen for these kids. So Lita, I'll turn it over to you.
Local hero, Lita Murillo.
Thank you, Supervisor Peters. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. I just appreciate you guys allowing us to have this proclamation to kick off the Holiday Cottage. As Supervisor Peters alluded to, we've been doing this since 1987, 38 years, pretty amazing. And our communities come through year in, year out. I'm joined at the podium today by our partners, Chief Probation Officer Bill Dickinson, and then my Public Information Officer, Christy Torres, and a Dream Center peer support specialist, Esperanza Perales, who's going to be sharing her story shortly. It's hard to believe, as Supervisor Perez alluded to, that we're 51 days away from Christmas. Where did a year go by? As we head into the holiday season, full of giving and kindness, I just want to have everyone keep in mind our foster youth that are in our system currently right now. The holidays can be really difficult for them. They're challenged, they've gone through so much, and the holiday season is not always kind. So this is why DHS does the holiday cottages, to make sure they're not forgotten, to recognize them, to obviously provide them with that wish that they have, a Christmas gift for that Christmas day. We're determined to fill the 700 plus wishes that we have, and our community is so giving in doing so. I could tell you that our wishes range from roller skates to basketballs to jerseys to clothes to art supplies, so a whole spectrum of things. One youth one time asked for a piano, and our community came through and provided that piano. Somebody heard it on the news, and through that local news outlet, they were able to secure that piano for that foster youth. So pretty amazing when you think what our community does all the way around. And then our partners from IKEA, they donate furniture, living room furniture that gets showcased at the holiday cottage while we're there. And then that gets donated to a foster youth at the end of our project. And then additionally, we receive grants throughout. We've received grants so far from Kern Family Healthcare, Care Foundation, and Clinica Sierra Vista, and we receive a lot of support from America General Media. This year, the Holiday Cottage is once again going to be located at 3043 Wilson Road. I invite all of you to be there. We're going to have a press conference tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then I also wanted to recognize Esperanza now, who's going to come up to share her story. And I appreciate her coming forward in such short notice. So, Esperanza.
Hi, good morning. My name is Esperanza Perales, and I'm honored to be here. Today I wanted to share a little bit about my story and the impact that Holiday Cottage program has had on my life. He did a really good job explaining it. So Holiday Cottage provides holiday gifts to the youth in foster care, but it's more than just receiving presents. It's like a reminder that someone sees you and that someone cares, and that you're not forgotten during a time that can feel really lonely. When I was in foster care, the holidays were one of the hardest times of the year. You feel the absence of family traditions, and sometimes the isolation could weigh down on you. Sorry, I'm really nervous. It's more than just receiving presents. It's a reminder that someone sees you, someone cares, and that you're not forgotten during times that could feel really lonely. When I was in foster care, the holidays were one of the hardest times of the year. You feel the absence of family traditions, and sometimes isolation can weigh on you. But receiving Holiday Cottage gifts brought light into that season for me. It made me feel remembered, supported, and valued when I needed it the most. Recently, while preparing this speech, I spoke with my biological mom, and she told me something that meant so much to me. She also received Holiday Cottage gifts when she was in foster care. Knowing that this program not only touched my life, but hers too, showed me how far its kindness reaches, even across generations. 2 generations of my family have felt the love, hope, and holiday joy from Holiday Cottage. It is something that is incredibly special. Today, I stand here in a full circle moment, not only as someone who received Holiday Cottage gifts, but now as someone who works at the Dream Center, supporting the youth who are in the same place that I was once. I get to witness the excitement and the comfort these gifts bring, the same warmth that I felt years ago. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for all the work you do. Thank you for all the love and thought you put into every gift. You are not just wrapping presents, you are wrapping hope, you are wrapping belonging, and you are wrapping care. Your impact reaches farther than you know. It reached me, it reached my mother, and it continues to reach youth every single day. So thank you so much.
Wow.
Thank you, Esperanza. I appreciate you sharing your story. Again, we wanted to have Esperanza come forward because it's important to really recognize our foster youth during the holidays. And anyone that's interested in participating in the project, as Supervisor Peters alluded to, you can just go to www.kernholidaycottage.com or come down to our facility at 3043 Wilson Road, and you can pull a wish that way too. Monetary donations accepted as well. So thank you so much.
Lito, thank you so much. Thank you. Esperanza, thank you so much for being here. What an incredibly gifted, articulate young lady you are.
Oh, thank you.
My God, that was so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow. just said it, yes, Supervisor Peters, but I don't see him. Thank you. Supervisor Peters, I don't know if you want to stay there for the appointment of Robert Miller, or do you want to? Okay. Understood. That was really beautiful.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the board's indulgence and let me pull this off consent. Robert Miller is a resident of Kern River Valley, and I wanted to invite Robbie to come on down to the mic if you'd like to, and Jen or whoever else you'd like to come down, more than welcome to come join you. But I just want to talk a little bit about Robbie. He runs Strength of Shadow Dog Rescue. Just a little bit about Robbie's background. Robbie had a little bit of a rocky road for a while, and he spent some time incarcerated. But when he got out, he adopted a dog named Shadow from Marley's Mutts, I believe. And that's the kind of guy Robbie is. He was looking for a way to work through what he had been going through, and his solution to that was to try and help somebody else, and that was a dog named Shadow. And through working with Shadow and growing together, he decided to start Shadow Ranch and eventually Strength of Shadow Dog Rescue, where he takes in dogs from throughout the community, trains them, gets them ready for their forever home. He advocates not just for the Kern River Valley, but for all of Kern County to receive increased funding for spay and neuter programs. He coordinates with those, works closely with our Animal Services Department, Bakersfield Animal Services, with our adoption events. And he's just truly a remarkable public servant out there, doing everything that he can for the animals and the folks that take care of them in our community. So when I was looking for an appointment to fill a spot on the Animal Services Commission, I couldn't think of anybody better, and Robbie graciously agreed to take on the added responsibility. So we appreciate it, Robbie, and I just wanted to give a chance to highlight all your great work and give you a chance to say a few words if you'd like.
Oh, how nice.
Well, thank you guys, supervisors. It's an honor to serve on this commission. Hoping my experience that it can complement this commission and help our community, Kern County, the people in it and the animals. I'm very passionate, and I will make you guys proud. Thank you guys.
I know you will. Thanks, Robbie.
Mr. Miller, you're an inspiration to a lot of people. I promise you that. We need a motion for his appointment.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I know you're going to shake things up there. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay. Now, thank you for your patience this morning. It's been a rather lengthy morning of presentations. Thank you for your patience. We're going to move to public presentations, which is the portion of the morning that is devoted to members of the public to come forward and state your interests and share your heart. We ask that you please graciously acknowledge the timer that we've asked you to stay within. I know it's not a perfect system, but we ask for your grace in that. Please state and spell your name for the record. These are for matters that are not on today's agenda, but are within the jurisdiction of the Kern County Board of Supervisors. Mr. Shin, I've seen you a time or two. Good morning, but please state your name anyway for the record.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning to the Board of Supervisors. A beautiful morning it is. God bless America. My name is Charles Shin, S-H-I-N-N, a retired Marine and a concerned citizen. We appreciate all the help that the Board of Supervisors has done to encourage Kern Elections Department to work towards improvements. Very much. Like the removal of 2 tranches of registrations who haven't voted in 8 years. However, we can't see who actually is being removed. We're prevented from looking at canceled voter rolls or seeing a removal list. To be clear, we are nonpartisan and do not care what party, gender, or nationality a registrant belongs to, as long as they're citizens. Many categories of unverified registrations exist. One example, unverified, is a place of birth, a definitive criteria to establish you from 1,000 other individuals with your same name. Our voter registration rolls currently has 106,996 blanks for place of birth for registrants. We additionally have 6,901 nondescript terms like non, UNK, which I believe is unknown, and OTH is other. That equals 113,897 unverified registrations, which equals 23.6% of our total voter roll. Birth date is another essential. We have still 137 folks born January 1 of 1900, making them 125 years old. Mind you, I just Googled this morning, the oldest living person in the United States is a crisp 115. We have 28 over 110. These are just two examples that our current voter registration rolls are at least 20% unverified. I'll be followed by Andy Hensel.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Shin. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Board. And thank you, Board, for leading the way forward toward an election committee that can now develop best practices for election integrity.
Your name, sir?
My name is Andy Hensel, Hensel.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And I think one of those best practices could be the verification of citizenship of the voter rolls through the Department of Homeland Security. Just within the past 6 months, counties can now verify the citizenship status of their entire voter roll through the Department of Homeland Security using the Systematic Alien Verification Entitlements Program, or SAVE program. This access is available to local government agencies, including counties, that agree on the program's guidelines. And those guidelines will ensure, among other things, that no voters get disenfranchised in the process. Be aware that this agreement does not determine voter eligibility outright. That's up to the counties. As of recent updates in 2025, state and local agencies face no transaction fee for using SAVE, and they can submit bulk queries, such as the entire voter roll, using data like Social Security numbers to verify U.S. citizenship. Currently, at least 32 counties and more have direct agreements to access SAVE, demonstrating that this is feasible for counties. Now, pause and imagine that you are very sick. And then you find a medication that is safe, effective, and very cheap. We know that the SAVE program is that medication because at least 32 other counties have already received the cure. If Kern doesn't take the SAVE program, then we must want to be sick. Well, I don't want to be sick. And the next speaker, Dennis McLean, he doesn't want to be sick. We want clean voter rolls. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning. Dennis McLean, MC, capital L-E-A-N. Thank you for allowing me to speak. The handout in front of you outlines the Kern County Election Division Observer Guide. It is a 5-page document covering general information and guidelines, required courtesies, voting equipment, preparation and testing, vote by mail, election day observer, election night, canvass, provisional ballots, and ballot handling challenges. Please read through these guidelines and see if you agree with them all. we invite the board to participate in the process of counting the votes. We appreciate the board's involvement to clean up Kern election process, but we feel the board has the power to do more. We would like your board to work with our DA and our Sheriff's Department to expose the tampering of vote-by-mail ballots and the falsifying of voter rolls. In closing, my daughter received a voter registration form from the election department on Friday last week. She called saying that they did not have a current signature on file. She called Monday and the department said they had received her ballot and just forget about that call. It was a mistake. My concern is how many others received this inaccurate information from this department and at what cost to the taxpayer. Her email address was not correct and her party preference was wrong. Just another example of the inaccuracy of our local election department and election system. Thank you.
Morning, Ron.
Morning, Madam Chair, Board. Voter Bill, I'm Ron Barger, B-A-R-G-E-R. Voter Bill of Rights. You have the following rights. 1, the right to vote if you are a registered voter. 2, the right to vote if you're a registered voter not on the list. 3, the right to vote if you're in line and the poll closes. 4, the right to cast a secret ballot. Number 5, the right to get a new ballot if you make a mistake. 6, the right to get help casting your ballot. 7, the right to drop off your completed mail ballot at any polling place in California. 8, the right to election materials in a language other than English. 9, the right to ask questions to election officials about procedures and to watch the election process. If the person you ask cannot answer your questions, they must send you to the right answer. If you are disruptive, they can stop answering your questions. 10, the right to report any illegal or fraudulent election activity in an election to the officials or the Secretary of State's office. A citizen who cannot define what is or isn't illegal or fraudulent, we are dependent on elected officials to investigate and determine what is illegal and fraudulent. Next is a list of voter suppression awareness. 1, failure to timely process voter registration. 2, polling place reductions or consolidations. 3, polling place relocation. 4, inadequate or poorly trained staffing at polls. 5, running out of ballots at polling sites. 6, no paper ballots. 7, proofs of citizenship laws. 8, bans on drop boxes, limiting the number of drop boxes, limiting the hours of access to the drop box locations, and to make them inaccessible before, after, and after work. A quote from Martin Luther King: "The denial of this sacred right is a tragic betrayal of the highest mandates of our democratic tradition, and so our most urgent request to the President of the United States and every member of Congress is to give us the right to vote." Concerned citizens are asking the state and counties to give us transparent elections. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Glenn Clayton, C-L-A-Y-T-O-N.
Welcome.
Madam Chair, Board, thank you, our staff, thank you for all that you do. Soon, we will have an election observer from the Federal Department of Justice in town. Concerned citizens hope that the county can take this opportunity to have a sit-down meeting with them, him or her, along with any local department attorney's office, say Rodney Klassen, along with someone from the elections office, department. We think this could be a very productive meeting, so we would encourage this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. My name's Jess Sanders. Thank you, board, for seeing me this morning. I wanted to thank the supervisors for the leadership in helping us to correct some of the obvious problems with our voter registration here in Kern County. Kern citizens would really like you to focus some energy on helping Kern County from being one of the last to certify in almost every election. Due to late mail-in ballots, many of the races are affected to these late mail-in drop-offs. We have interviewed the postmaster on Camino Media, and he confirmed that ballots are delivered to the same day and as received and without overnight delivery. Some are being delivered without postmarks. We would like the Board of Supervisors to ask the DOJ and DA Assistant Klassen to oversee the late election ballot count after November 4th. I personally don't believe that Kern County, Fresno County, Riverside County, and LA County were just arbitrarily selected. I think there's been notice of a lot of fraudulent elections in the state. Now, with that being said, we've all been told that our ballots are secure. There have been plenty of occasions where ballots have been found in homeless camps or 300 ballots in the back of a car in past elections. In my own apartments, I've had my community mailboxes torn out of the wall and taken away. I have pictures of that, plus a 16 or 18 community box that's found on the side of the railroad tracks. And it's very curious to me that these community boxes are winding up missing at a higher rate during the election system in the mail-out ballot. So appreciate you all looking into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jess. Any other public presentations at this time? Please come forward and please state and spell your name. For the record, welcome and good morning.
Good morning, Board of Councils. My name is Tanbir, last name Brar, B-R-A-R. Today, I'm here for a most important concern about telecommunication system of County Kern and a domain server usernames, email addresses of County of Kern, including with the server and username of a Superior Court, which is under the control of County Kern. Because by state, all counties have to manage their own traffic of e-filings, documents, and administration of state provide all access to the counties to manage their own usernames and e-documents. So I'm asking this because I want to have a notice for publication for any last change into any username of courts within county and any change in any phone number within county, because these things are managed by county, not by state. And including with, I want legal docket for what kind of extension number has been assigned and approved by councils to the departments within this within county, and also which extension and numbers approved by councils. Like when we dial a phone, right? They asking extension number, right? So it should be because I am asking because I can provide a detailed information like what kind of a situation I went through. So I'm asking, and another reason to ask because I would like to let the councils know about that. Like I have these few paperwork because just right now somebody was talking about libraries, right? And before that, like I want to let the council know that like there is a few law has been changed by state. which is about e-filing, e-file documents, rules which are assigned by state from 2.132 to 2.500, which recently assigned by state. So the law and rules which is set by state, and I want to let you know about that, like I was the victim for this situation. I prepared those presentation, and I file here in County Kern in my case.
Sir, you're going to have to bring your comments to a close. I'm so sorry. We usually do 2 minutes. That's the clock
Yeah.
that's listed here.
So, okay, so the reason for following new rules which has been bring by state, I am the victim, this is what I'm saying, and which has been conducted by County Kern or judicial misconduct, whatever. I'm asking
Excuse me,
this.
sir. Supervisor Parley, do you have some helpful thoughts?
Yes, sir. Can you tell me what area you live in?
Huh?
Where do you live in the county?
Here in Bakersfield, city Bakersfield.
Okay, can you narrow it down just a little bit? Do you have a street or something?
Yeah,
or-
Panama Lane.
Panama Lane?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds like it might be my area.
Uh-huh.
We'll just bring your comments to a close, and we'll take it offline, and please go up to my office. It's room 502.
Okay.
And my staff are there, and they'd be more than happy to talk to you about this issue.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Parley. I'm so
Appreciate it.
sorry, these matters were very limited in
Yeah.
what we can do here. Per the Brown Act, we cannot have extensive conversations about matters that are not in the agenda and publicized to the public. So my apologies for that limitation, but Supervisor Parlier was quite assertive in asking you to please you can get on the elevator, head to the 5th floor, go to his office, and his staff will help guide you for the next steps.
Yeah, I was trying to contact since the last 1 month, but I unable to reach somebody, you know.
Yeah,
I understand.
502.
502,
They'll help you out, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Supervisor Parlier, thank you. I appreciate that so much. Okay, any other members of the public that would like to speak? I see at least, okay, please come forward. Good morning and welcome.
Okay. Hi, good morning. Hello, board. I guess my thing's a little bit too big for your stand there. Okay. My name is Thomasina Rivers, Tomasena, last name Rivers. I want to say maybe the welfare department is in Mr. Philip Peters' district. I'm not too sure. Okay, so I'm here this morning because I have filed a civil rights complaint against the welfare department for discrimination, and furthermore, I've also filed a paper here on the 5th floor that was rejected by the board. But here, I just want to read one thing. Hopefully, I don't take too much time. I'm aware now, it took me some time, that Mr. Lito Moderello is not aware of the actions being taken and towards our community at the Welfare Department and Appeals Council. So I'm going to drop this off with him today, but let me keep going. Okay, so this is a rehearing that I had filed, but it's an appeal to the Appeals Council to enforce the ALJ judge's decision. And the background and statement of facts. On October 2nd, 2018, Administrative Law Judge Jody Berger issued a final binding decision in my favor, ruling that I am to be recognized as a separate household for CalWorks purposes. At the time, my CalWorks and SNAP CalFresh benefits were linked under the same number. Despite the binding nature of this order, Kern County Department of Human Services failed to comply on a timely manner, taking actions that cause interruption of benefits and financial hardship. Timeline of non-compliance. The date is October 31st, 2018, county unlinked SNAP benefit, and benefits were unlinked before implementing the ALJ's decision. November 6, 2018, county implemented the order. Full compliance occurred 6 days late, causing wrongful loss of benefits. This timeline demonstrates deliberate non-compliance and improper handling of benefits, contrary to the ALJ binding decision. Legal violations, violation of an ALJ's binding order, California Welfare Institution Code SS 10950 requires the county to implement final decision without delay. Number 2, violation of a federal SNAP regulations, 7 CFR 273.15 and 273.18 require prompt compliance. I just got one more on there. And improper deprivation of benefits interrupts SNAP and CalWORKS benefits, cause financial harm, debt, and hardship. And one more. Due process violation, delay, and premature termination under the fairness and integrity of the administrative appeals process. So I just wanted to have witness and get this on there, and I'm here to notify you that the welfare department, maybe he doesn't know about it, has been committing fraud and also taking money from families in our county. And I am requesting the board to please investigate what's been going on, because I hear now lay federal laws and violations that have happened. And as soon as they deny the rehearing, I will be going to the district court in Fresno to file a federal lawsuit against the county. And once I win, hopefully I could donate $100,000 to each 240 schools here in Kern County, because I want to be a hero like them. So
Thank you,
please
Ms.
have a
Rivers.
wonderful day, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rivers. Any other public presentations this morning?
Go to federal court. Let mommy and daddy handle it.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, staff, and anybody watching online or in the chambers. I just wanted to extend a personal invite this Saturday. If you're going to go to the Touch-A-Truck event that ends at 1, swing on by the park at Riverwalk because Animal Services and about 15 other animal welfare agencies are having the largest pet adoption event and pet extravaganza. It's at the park at Riverwalk, which is out by Stockdale and Buena Vista. It'll be from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. There's going to be hundreds of animals available for adoption, and then about 40 or 45 different vendors that sell pet-related products. So it's more than just an adoption event. It's a celebration of our pets in our community, and it's really a collaborative event with a lot of the organizations that do the work here for animals in Kern County. So it's this Saturday at the park at Riverwalk from 11 to 4. Come out and check it out. Perhaps if you're in the market to adopt a pet, it's probably a good time to do that. But just wanted to extend an invite to all of you.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you for all you do for our pet family in this community. Okay, any other public presentations? Now would be the time.
Miss Lisa, MS.LISA, last name POLLARD, middle initial K. I spoke with Pam Reese. I asked her if there's anything I could do to send a message to the board. And so she said, thank you for all the work that you're doing. Keep up the good work. And I was glad to see Couch come back in, but he just slipped out. So I thought that all you would be together so I could say it all at once. And then also I wanted to make a comment just as I'm hearing the public comments. A 90-year-old friend is living in a retirement home, and I asked him if he voted. He says, I think I got the thing in the mail, but I don't know where it is. So that's a concern. He wants to vote, but he doesn't know where it is. So, and also Pam, I asked her if she was, going to vote. So I don't remember exactly what she said. I think she got it, but we know that she's in rehab, and so hopefully she'll get that in too for her vote. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pollard. Supervisor Parlier, was that from earlier? You're punching in. Okay. Any other public comments this morning? Now would be the time. I recognize you.
Good morning, Annie Ortega. I'm sure you are tired of hearing the chair talk about me, but I am here to ask you to please be present at our event, as I say, our NISC, Native and Indigenous Student Coalition of CSUB. I sent letters to all of your offices. We'll be having an event November 14th, Friday, 10 to 1. Even a little bit of time would be great. It's in celebration of Native Heritage Month and culture. And I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for all the work you do there. It's wonderful stuff. Okay, I seeing no other members of the public. We're going to bring the public portion hearing to a close. I'm going to ask my colleagues if you have any announcements or reports under board member announcements or reports. Supervisor Parlier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The storms that came through East Kern a little over a month ago that devastated areas in Philip Peters District, also wreaked havoc on District 2 in the Jawbone Canyon area. I was out there with Friends of Jawbone, the Bureau of Land Management, and did a tour of that whole area. And there's Jawbone Canyon Road, for those that have been out there before. It's a huge recreational area. Was just basically wiped out. You're talking about areas that the roadway of Jawbone Canyon Road, just kind of give a diagram, areas of dirt as high as this dais, double the size of this room, across the roadway. And I came back and I called Public Works and I said, man, there's a problem out there. And we have a major holiday coming, which is a huge economic driver for East Kern with Thanksgiving that, residents from all over the region go out to Jawbone Canyon to recreate. And the can-do attitude of Public Works in this county was amazing. They said, yeah, we're going to get on it, we're going to get it taken care of, and we're going to have the availability to have people enjoy Thanksgiving in Jawbone Canyon. So that's a big win for East Kern. Again, I want to give a shout out to Public Works for all the hard work that they have done. Now, in that vein of Kern County Strong, the chairman, Letitia Perez, and myself had an opportunity to be at the press conference with CAPK when they were talking about the effects of the shutdown and how they are responding. There's a saying that you can't predict your circumstances, but you can predict how you respond to them. And CAPK has really stepped up for this community to respond. And I'd like to invite Kelly, please come to the podium. Kelly Lowry is the program administrator for the food bank and gave a wonderful briefing at that presentation. And Kelly, if you just give us an update of what's going on, please.
Yeah, thank you.
Good morning, Kelly.
Supervisors, good morning. I just left the fairgrounds this morning for day 2 of our distribution that's happening out there at the fairgrounds in support of our neighbors that are in critical need right now of food assistance. We got to work, as Supervisor Parlier said, a couple of weeks ago, convening a task force of public and private partnerships to address the shortfall that many of our residents are feeling as a result of the government shutdown, particularly as it pertains to access to food. So I just want to provide a really brief update. Yesterday, we served about 2,500 families at the fairgrounds. That's happening again today. And then we're also, just moments ago, began serving over in Ridgecrest at the Ridgecrest Fairgrounds as well. So we've split our operations into 2. We were able to do that because of the support from the California National Guard as well as California volunteers, and as well as some community members and folks, including, I will say, just tremendous support from the county specifically. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that this work couldn't have been done as strongly without strong county support from the CAO's office and specifically Assistant CAO Stacy Kuhara, the DHS department under the strong leadership of Lito Murillo and his team. Lito yesterday was at the distribution, helping us physically, just distributing food, getting sweaty and dirty out there along with the rest of us. Supervisor Perez was out there doing the same yesterday, handing out food to neighbors, and it's a community effort, and we're going to keep doing this. There's a lot of updates that are happening, but still not a lot of certainty around when people are going to have their benefits restored. And the one thing that we're going to do is to continue to serve folks that are in need of food access until that happens. And so to that end, we'll be at the fairgrounds every day, Monday through Friday until 7 p.m. every day. To be able to serve our neighbors in need. We know that 70,000 out of the more than 100,000 CalFresh cases exist right in Metro Bakersfield, and 20,000 of those exist in the 9 through 307 area code. And so that's where we're going to be until that benefit is restored. We also have other locations, as I mentioned, Ridgecrest today. We'll be in Delano tomorrow. We'll be in Mojave on Friday. Next week we'll be in Arvin. We'll be in Kern River Valley, and we'll be in Wasco. So several locations in geographic regions around our county.
May I?
Yes,
Supervisor
please.
Parlier, thank you. First of all, a big shout out to Supervisor Parlier for getting out in front of this issue with contributing $5,000. He publicly put the squeeze on me and made me match that. That was clever. Very few people have done that to me in my life, so hats off to you. But Kelly, I had the opportunity to witness you in your splendid, heroic energy and deeds yesterday, and I'll tell you, it's a humbling thing to watch. What an incredible leader you are, how much your team respects, loves, and admires you. I see why now very clearly. It was really a privilege to be alongside 50 National Guardsmen and women yesterday who just worked tirelessly from 7 to 7. I just cannot comprehend. Of course, they're a lot younger than me, but how they could have such a good attitude, and to see that spirit there, Army strong, Kern County strong, was really a moment for me. And I want to give a special thanks to my staffer, Christian Romo, who has been with you on the front lines from day one. Yesterday, we discovered we did not have lunch for our guards people and our staff. He jumped right on it, figured out how to get 50 pizzas from Costco there, and made sure that we could feed all the volunteers that were present. This, of course, is unprecedented, so we figured that out through our cooperative partnerships. Today, Mr. Dimples will be there with his food truck, providing a whole plethora of delicious and fattening food to our volunteers. Andre Gonzalez is going to provide pizza tomorrow, and we've got other folks that are going to provide lunch for the next 2 weeks as we provide help to our neighbors in need, as you indicated. So to members of the public, if you can help with that process, sandwiches, waters, whatever you're able or capable of doing, it's a big undertaking, and it's a marvelous thing to be a part of. And I wish, Kelly, I really want to say thank you to you. Yeah. What an incredible servant you are to this community, and a great leader. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the kind words, and I'll accept those on behalf of the entire team that works together. Obviously, we couldn't pull something like this off without a really amazing team and a combined effort, both from county and city as well, officials and even the general public, and also private business. We had the Bakersfield Trucking Association that has stepped up to donate the trucking to get all of the food around to the different areas around the county. So a lot of support that's come through, and we'll have a little bit more of a detailed presentation around once the dust settles of giving those kind of credits when that's due. I literally ran straight over here from the distribution. I got to run straight back, but I'm happy to answer any other questions in the meantime. In the interim, I'll just say that capk.org/shutdown is the best place to send people to understand how to get involved with either donating food directly, donating funds to help us to recoup some of the food that we're pushing forward, volunteering. That's where people can sign up to volunteer as well. So there's a lot of different ways. And then also the schedule is on there to see. Online, I'm noticing that some people are confused about where to go. They think Bakersfield's the only spot. Of course, that's not the case. So if you got constituents from your area, just push them towards that, and they'll be able to see where they'll be able to have food access. Again, with the changes in Washington around the food benefit, some people are saying, are you still going to do it if people get their benefits restored? And the short answer is we're guaranteed to continue through next week. So if we do make any changes, that's not going to happen until the end of next week.
I want to acknowledge, too, Supervisor Flores' staff was out there working very hard yesterday, quite extraordinary, putting together bags of potatoes from contributions from local farmers, Kirschman, I believe, who just sent over thousands of pounds of potatoes, and we were very quickly putting them in bags and handing them out to families. And Vivian from your office has really worked very hard. Absolutely. And it did an exceptional job. So yeah, it's a great family and team effort, and I just really want to say thank you to everybody who's participated. Lots of volunteers just showing up and just giving a helping hand to neighbors in need without any conversation about politics or anything negative at all. We're just there to help, and I'm really touched by that and really encouraged by that. But I see Supervisor Peters has punched in.
Madam Chair?
Oh, please.
Could I just add one thing? Kelly, as one of my assignments on the Board of Supervisors, I also sit on the board of CAPK. And you're dealing with this emergency right now, but I just want to express that CAPK is in our community every day, emergency or not, with our stakeholders, helping to feed those in need. And in this case, also our military, our federal workers too. And I want to thank you for that. You mentioned the Bakersfield Truckers Association, which is predominantly Sikh truckers. And, they're so integrated in our community, the Sikh truckers, and they are, really stepped up to the plate and are helping too.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you so much for that, Supervisor Parley. Supervisor Peters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Supervisor Parley, for bringing this up, and I just want to echo those same comments. I appreciate all your guys' work on this. This is really a remarkable effort for how quickly this was stood up and how complicated the operation that you guys have put together is, but I'm very excited to see this is happening, and I especially thank you for paying attention to our communities outside of the Bakersfield area where there's significant need out there. I know it's gonna be hard for everybody to see it, but my staff is out there right now, and there are literally cars lined up around the road in all directions from the fairgrounds for folks looking for assistance out there. So it's desperately needed, and it's a great thing for our community. So I appreciate all your guys' work.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Peters. Okay, that's all. Thank you, Kelly. Thanks. God bless you. God bless your work, brother. Thank you. Kern County really is a generous and beautiful community. It's nice to see it in action. Okay, we're going to move on now to our regular agenda. And under the County Administrative Office, we have items number 23, 24, and 25. And I understand 23 and 24 will be heard concurrently, and we'll vote on those matters separately. But as the staff makes their way to the table, I want to once again thank you, Thomas Brown. You work so hard. I see also our lobbyist here, Paul Yoder. Thank you so much for being here and for all that you do for Kern County. I really appreciate you. Okay, where is, oh, excuse me. I got confused there. Thomas Brown, the floor is, Thomas Brown, to you. Thank you so much for keeping us so abreast and for constantly obsessing about what is happening in Sacramento. You stay abreast of it. You keep your finger on the pulse, which I really appreciate. So thank you, and the floor is yours, sir.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm pleased to introduce this item, which provides a summary of Kern County's state legislative activities for 2025. This past year has been defined by focused advocacy, strong intergovernmental coordination, and tangible outcomes that directly benefit our residents. Guided by your board's direction and the county's legislative platform, we've advanced a targeted agenda in Sacramento, prioritizing public safety, infrastructure investment, economic development, and local governance. We've also continued to strengthen our internal coordination through the Legislative Program Committee, which has helped align departmental priorities and broaden public engagement in our advocacy efforts. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Paul Yoder, our state legislative consultant from Shaw, Yoder, Antwi, Schmelzer, and Lane, who will walk us through the key legislative wins, budget highlights, and strategic efforts that have positioned Kern County as a consistent voice in Sacramento. The recommended action on this item is for your board to receive and file the report. Paul, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Thomas. Good morning, Madam Chair, board members, staff, members of the public. Thank you for letting us present to you today. I'm joined today by my colleague Dylan Elliott. We're going to go back and forth a little bit, try to keep it lively and short. So we're going to jump right in. The 2025 legislative session, I want to remind especially the public, we have 2-year legislative cycles in California, so 2025 was the first year of what we call a 2-year session. Just under 3,000 bills were introduced this first year. The governor ended up vetoing just over 13%. That isn't the lowest rate ever, but it is, relative to a lot of other years, a relatively low percentage of vetoes. I emphasize this bullet just because our firm this is the reason why our firm spends so much time trying to keep bills from getting to the governor in the first place, because so many bills are signed by the governor if they get there. This is the second year in a row that was rife with tension between the legislature and the governor on big ticket issues. Many items were not in print until September 10th. I want to remind everybody, we have a 72-hour in print rule in California. Bills have to be in print for 72 hours now under the Constitution before they can be voted on. The fact that these bills weren't put into print until the 10th meant that the legislature had to stay over for a day, Saturday, September 13th. Obviously, oil and gas drilling. First and foremost, was one of the big ticket items that the legislature and the governor got resolved. Grid regionalization, cap and trade reauthorization, we now call cap and trade cap and invest in California. Financing the state's wildfire recovery fund, putting another, I think it's $18 billion into that. And then 1/3 The voters recently passed Proposition 4, $10 billion bond. The legislature and the governor agreed to appropriate 1/3 of the $10 billion, so $3.3 billion, and Dylan will speak to that here shortly. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about the budget. We're in a bad budget cycle. We will continue to be in a bad budget cycle. The budget that we are in right now anticipates a deficit of over $10 billion, $11.8 billion to be exact. We've had some good news. Revenues are up. This cites August, but we actually have the September numbers now. Through September, through the first quarter of this fiscal year, the state of California has received $4 billion over projections. That's the good news. I want to caution folks, what you cannot do, what you should not do is go, oh, there's 4 quarters in the year. 4 times 4 means we're going to get $16 billion. Revenue is very episodic, and we get a little bit more money. Obviously, September is a big year for taxes, and so you have to keep that in mind. There is bad news also, however. State expenses are up a little over $2 billion for the same first quarter. So you net that out, and obviously it's not as good as it might seem at first blush. HR 1 and how the state is going to have to deal with that. Huge impacts to the state, huge impacts to the counties. There are a lot of unknowns. I'm sure your federal advocates will speak to that a little bit. But the LAO, the legislative analysts, and the Department of Finance still anticipate not only deficits for this coming year, but for budget year +1, as we say, which would be 27-28, and maybe even budget year +2, which would be 28-29. The proposed budget, 26-27, that the governor releases, we think, on Friday, January 9th next year, that will be Governor Newsom's last proposed budget ever. For specific impacts, what's that?
I'm sorry, I was talking to myself.
Yeah. He only gets 2 terms. That's a fact.
I just could not believe it's been 8 years already. It's just the time just flies.
It just flies.
It's astonishing.
Just does. Specifically for counties, Proposition 36 was recently passed by the voters. The governor in January did not want to appropriate any money to the counties for that. He said it was too soon. The numbers needed to be known. At the end of the day, CSAC did a really good job on this, the California State Association of Counties. We need more money than what has been appropriated, which is $50 million for behavioral health and $15 million for public defenders. Obviously, we're going to be working on that in 6-7 in conjunction with CSAC. HAP, the program that has funded a lot of unhoused programs for the unhoused in California. Unfortunately, on this, and I want to make sure everybody's clear on this, HAP has been funded, I'm going to say 1.5 years, 2 years in advance. And so when I say money was not appropriated for it, there is a gap where there is still time to get money appropriated for the next cycle when counties need that money, counties and cities. But what happened ultimately was basically a promise. Rather than the real $1 billion, there was a promise to do $500 million. And that's not okay. And so we're working on that. I think the best news we can give you today is that the big city mayors had their annual retreat. They obviously have been central in getting this money into the budget from the very beginning. They are doubling down. They're going to redouble their lobbying efforts in 6-7 to try to get that $1 billion reinstituted in conjunction with CSAC. And then the Proposition 4 allocation specifically, and this is where I'll hand it over to Dylan.
Thank you, Supervisors. Nice to be with you this morning. Proposition 4, as you may recall, was the $10 billion natural resources and climate bond on last year's ballot that voters approved. This is essentially an agreement from the legislature and the governor to authorize about 1/3 of the total pots of money. As you can see, there's money in there for safe drinking water, wildfire resilience, as well as extreme heat mitigation and some other funds. We anticipate that the monies there will be going through existing procedures with the various departments that would oversee these funding allocations, meaning that counties and other interested stakeholders could start applying for these funds probably relatively soon, and we'll certainly keep the county apprised to that. But some good news on Prop 4. Paul already mentioned, kind of the end of session experience that the legislature and the governor had. A lot of it came down to the issues that you see on the screen here. At the beginning of the legislative session, the legislature and the governor came out and said essentially that their overwhelming goal was to lower affordability, or I should say increase affordability and lower costs for Californians. Whether the proposals I'm about to briefly run through did that is certainly in the eye of the beholder. The first of which, AB 825, is an effort towards creating a Western regional energy market grid. The thought being that in periods of time where the state is experiencing, for example, higher heat, people are using their air conditioners more, we create a higher strain on the grid, we can now bring in energy from other states that are not using it as much. Similarly, in periods where, for example, if solar panels have generated more energy than the state needs, we can now export that to other places. It's something that'll start coming online probably in the next few years. AB 1207 was the extension of cap and trade, as Paul mentioned, that's now renamed to cap and invest. There are also some changes to the way the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, which is the pool of money funded through cap and invest now, is used. There's also some flexibility in there for the legislature to continue looking at how they want to use those funds in years going forward. SB 237, which I will just briefly mention in this context, Paul's going to talk about more in a second, but that is what we view as probably the most significant bill of this entire package in terms of immediately reducing California's costs, particularly at the pump, by making sure that we are producing oil in Kern County and continuing to do so. And SB 254, as Paul said, is the now $18 billion resurgence of the Wildfire Liability Fund. Of course, this county is no strangers to the fact that wildfires are increasing in the state. And after the January wildfires in Los Angeles, it's become increasingly clear that we need to better insulate ourselves. That $18 billion will be shared by shareholders for the big utility companies as well as ratepayers.
Thanks, Dylan. So getting close to the end here, Kern County wins in 2025. I want to pause and just say congratulations on SB 237. To the companies that hung in there, to the workers who work in the fields, to the suppliers, just all up, down, left, right in the supply chain. Congratulations. Hopefully 10 years is not the end, and we're ready to keep working on this issue, but congratulations. I do want to give a shout out to former planning director Lorelei Oviatt. Our partnership over the last 10 years has been really phenomenal, and I'm just really glad with the result finally this year. I'm sorry it took so long, but it's done, and congratulations again.
I want to say to you, Paul, because I was very, very intimately involved with that process, and hearing from Sacramento from many sources, because I have to check in with multiple people to know what's really going on, try to read the tea leaves. It's quite mysterious. I am aware of the work that you did personally with your multiplicity of relationships that have been gathered over decades. And I think what you did was absolutely exceptional. I appreciate you so much. I heard lots of things about you that you were doing, pushing and prodding to get that across the line. And it is, not perfect, of course. It is incredibly complicated political reality in California. But this is a major step in the right direction. And I think the first big one for us to acknowledge, frankly, we need more than 10 years. I think we'll get to that when the time is right. But it was an extraordinary success for Kern County, very bipartisan. Shannon Grove on the front lines of that, and she deserves incredible praise for her remarkable, political maneuvering. She is stunning, and she is something else. I mean, she is a force of nature, as you know. And anyhow, I think that was just a really remarkable moment for Kern County. And I know what you did, and I know how hard you pushed, because I heard from lots of people. And otherwise, you would have heard from me a lot more if you were not. So anyway, I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We don't just play offense, we play defense. There was no extension of the large-scale solar property tax exclusion that is set to sunset at the end of 2026. We have 1 year left to defend against an extension of that sunset. We're particularly worried this year with some of the things going on in Washington, D.C., some credits going away, that the solar industry would sort of basically go back on the deal that we think we have and that we want to maintain, but that did not happen, and so there was no extension, and so that is still set to expire 12/31/2026. The county had sponsored legislation this year regarding the Registrar of Voters. Congratulations. That also got to the governor and got signed. That was in SB 858, Senate Bill 858. Frankly, it might seem a weird thing for us to be proud of, but just because it was entirely behind the scenes, assisting the county with access and progress with the California Department of Housing and Community Development. There were millions at stake. If HCD didn't sign off, on the county's latest plan. Ultimately, they did, and the monies are flowing. And then we had to jump into the breach and be the lead advocates. We do sometimes, our firm representing as many counties as we do. The statewide associations, sometimes they oppose bills and then they get some amendments and they're off in opposition, but individual counties are still opposed. That was definitely the case with Assembly Bill 470. That is the carrier of last resort. Got to write that down, right, buddy? Yeah. COLR bill, and CSAC removed their opposition. The rural counties removed their opposition. The urban counties removed their opposition. We stayed on it, and that's a 2-year bill. It's going to come back, to be sure, but it's going to it's a 2-year bill for now. And then earmarks. It was great to have the senator here this morning. You know, I have to tell you, I hope it's okay, Madam Chair. That basket is really extraordinary in a bad budget year. And we've gone and we've compared county by county, city by city, and you talk, you know, that expression, punching above your weight. Kern County punched above its weight in 2025, and so it was really nice to see her here today. And I don't just want to give her kudos. You mentioned Senator Grove. The whole entire state legislative delegation that you have is they're popping on all cylinders, and they're doing a great job for the county. So let's look ahead very, very briefly. Obviously, today, Prop 50. The thing we're looking at is, honestly, not so much the results. I think it's watching other interests in Sacramento react to the results, because they will be interpreted, right? The parties will interpret them, interest groups will interpret them. Right. What is extrapolated from that is going to be very interesting to us going forward. We will have a new leader of the state Senate on November 17th, Senator Monique Limon from San Luis Obispo down the, well, you got to go down the 41, then hang a left, because she really is from Santa Barbara. But she will be installed on November 17th. I think probably more importantly, on a day-to-day basis, she will announce her new committee chairs and subcommittee chairs. We'll be prepared to work with whoever she puts into those posts. Mentioned the state budget, mentioned Newsom's last year as governor. And again, this is really, you know, for the public's benefit before we wrap up. Maybe I should talk about the 2026 statewide ballot, but I'll go in order here. The beginning of the second year of the session, as we let out discussing, is different than the first year. Why is that? Bills that were introduced last year can be taken up in January when we come back in 2026. The first year of the 2-year cycle is very sleepy, right? A lot of bills don't get introduced until late February, then it takes until late March and April for them to be heard in committee. There's this huge basket of bills they were introduced last year. They're all the way through their House of Origin. They're all the way through the Policy Committee in the second House and the Fiscal Committee, and they're on the floor in the second House. And so I mentioned AB 470, right? There's a lot of other bills where I could tell you, here's what can happen in January of, 2026, what, 2 months away? A procedural motion can take place on Monday, and a vote can be held on the bill on Thursday, and the bill can be the governor. So for bills that the county opposes, there are plenty of those. Bills that the public may be watching, there are a lot of those obviously too. I just really want to emphasize the beginning of a second year, very, very different than the beginning of a first year. Then the 2026 ballot, you maybe wouldn't believe all the proposals that are floating around right now, but just to name a couple, there's a $20 billion plus bond proposal for first-time home buyers in California, and it's envisioned as sell the bonds, make loans, but then it eventually becomes a revolving fund to get people into their first-time home buyers into their houses. That's being sponsored by former Assembly Speaker Bob Hertzberg. So not a political novice, not somebody nobody's heard of, somebody who knows how to get some things done. And then there's a voter ID initiative folks might have heard of, making the rounds. It has a couple 100,000 signatures the last time we checked. Is it going to qualify? We don't know. But I will end with this, because it's important for everybody to keep in mind. We have a very dynamic process in California, right? So what do I mean by that specifically here? On ballot propositions. Proponents of a ballot proposition have until early June to withdraw a measure from the November ballot. What they have to do is they have to sign in writing to the California Secretary of State, and they just say, we don't want to put it on the ballot anymore, and they can pull it off. So there's going to be a lot of deals, wheeling and dealing in Sacramento in May especially, as the legislature interacts with certain initiative backers, and maybe some initiatives get pulled off, maybe instead of going forward on the November ballot, the legislature substitutes something for what folks are gathering signatures on right now, and then that goes on the November ballot. So we really do have a very dynamic political process here in California. And that's why we're proud of what we get done for this county. Thank you for letting us represent you. Happy to take questions.
Thank you, Paul. I've known you a long time now in my relationships to CSAC and otherwise, and navigating that place is not easy thing to do, and I think you do it brilliantly. So let's move on. Thank you for your presentation. Do we have any questions at this moment at this time? Okay, back to the CAO's office. What do we do next?
The recommended action is to receive and file the report.
Okay. So are there any members of the public who would like to comment or ask questions on the report as just received? Mr. Shin, welcome back.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members. Thank you for that education on California bills and political maneuvering. I would just wondering, is that those posted notes up there, could that be made available on the supervisor's website so that we can look over that? Because my note-taking was not as fast as your articulation of it.
Shin, I'm going to give you mine, okay? But that's a great recommendation.
Thank you.
Can we do that?
Actually, when we're all done and we post the summary, we attach this as additional material. So it's available on the website for you in a couple of days.
Excellent.
Okay.
Shin, I'll give you mine too, though. Hi. Hello, Tess.
I have a question. You mentioned that in May, things may change because somebody will be dropping them off, and I just wonder if can we buy you out of this type thing going on in some of those at
Jess,
the end?
can you direct a question to me? It's just a weird technical rule. I'm going to get in
Okay.
trouble if I don't
Sorry.
follow it.
Just
so
the
if you
fact
direct,
that the way they get these bills going and they battle each other, and this one really needs to go for some reason, but this is pushing it too hard. It's too close. And then they say right at the end, we can back some out. I'm wondering how much financial exchange is happening in backing those out for the ones that we really want to pass. That was my question.
okay.
over there.
Let me, thank you so much. Any other questions?
No, I'm
Okay.
just waiting for Zach.
Was that a clear, did you understand the question? Jess is very smart. Sometimes he speaks over my head.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely, through the chair, and thank you for the question. All I can tell you is, folks can stay involved, obviously, through us, direct contacts with the state legislative delegation that represents Kern County, other legislators, the governor. A lot of this is in public, or will be in public, and I didn't mean to imply otherwise. For example, if something is withdrawn, that's almost like a ministerial kind of paper thing that happens with the Secretary of State. But if there's a back and forth with the legislature, if they're going to substitute something, they'll have to put it into a bill, and that bill will have to go through the normal process. It'll have to be heard in the Assembly, heard in the Senate, voted on, by both members in both houses on the floor, and to be sent to the governor. And so that's a very public process that you could participate in. And in the LPC meetings next year, whatever is the most timely date for us to report on the status of the initiatives on or off, right, and what kind of deals may be getting cut, we're happy to do that next year. Happy to do that, because you're government.
Yeah, that's right. And I can guarantee you, Paul, they know that. And I love that about them, actually. Okay, seeing no other questions from the public, I'm going to return to the board for a motion to receive and file the presentation we just received.
So moved.
Thank you, Supervisor Couch. We have a motion and a second by Supervisor Flores. Please cast your votes, gentlemen.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay. Item number 24. Item number 24 is the annual overview of federal legislative activity. So what you just received was the state legislative activity. The state of California, obviously very different body than Congress in Washington, D.C. So now we're going to hear a presentation regarding federal activity. So Will we go, Mr. CAO?
I think you gave me a raise, but
I mean,
Madam Chair, members of the board, I'm pleased to introduce this item, which provides a summary of Kern County's federal legislative activities for 2025. This past year, Kern County made meaningful strides in Washington through deliberate federal advocacy, collaborative engagement, and results-driven approach to advancing our priorities. With guidance from your board and in close coordination with Townsend Public Affairs, the county pursued a well-defined federal agenda focused on securing investments in infrastructure, enhancing public safety, supporting energy and housing initiatives, and safeguarding critical social service programs. In parallel, the newly minted Legislative Program Committee served as a valuable forum for aligning departmental priorities and engaging community stakeholders. The LPC has helped ensure that our federal advocacy reflects the needs of Kern County residents and is grounded in cross-departmental coordination. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Ben Goldine, our legislative consultant from Townsend Public Affairs, who will walk us through the key legislative wins, budget highlights, and strategic efforts that shape this year's federal advocacy program. Again, the recommended action on this item is for your board to receive and file the report. Ben, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Board of Supervisors. My name is Ben Goldine. I serve as the Federal Advocacy Director at Townsend Public Affairs. And as someone who grew up here in the Central Valley, it's always great to get outside of the Washington, D.C. Beltway and come back here to share the present the federal advocacy work that we have undertaken on behalf of Kern County over the past year. And at Townsend Public Affairs, we work as a team. So I'm joined by my colleague, Spencer Street. And together we will provide you an overview of the year in review, a summary of our legislative and regulatory outcomes that we engaged on behalf of the county, provide a bit of a fiscal and budgetary impact analysis of federal legislation, and then highlight the additional work we did on behalf of the county throughout the course of the past year. So before I dive into the meat and potatoes of that, let me turn it over to Spencer to talk a little bit about the year in review.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, community of Kern County. By way of a brief reintroduction, Townsend Public Affairs is a California-based government relations firm with offices all over California and in Washington, D.C. For over 2 decades, we've partnered with local agencies, nonprofits, and local governments to navigate the complexities of federal policy and funding. Our mission, our mantra is to be champions for better communities, and our mission is simple: to amplify and elevate local voices in national policy conversations and secure resources our communities need to thrive. So, a brief year in review. 2025 was a significant year of federal activity. Our partnership with the county reflected that work. We engaged across a wide range of policy areas that directly impact Kern County's residents, economy, infrastructure, from transportation, defense, workforce development, water, housing, and healthcare. So before Ben dives into the specific advocacy we've engaged with Kern County, I want to take a few minutes to set the stage by reflecting on the broader federal legislative landscape in 2025. The year brought significant change. Complexity and consequence for local governments across the country. Beginning the year with a new presidential administration and a clear shift in federal priorities, President Donald Trump returned to office with a mandate to rapidly implement his policy agenda, and he did so through a combination of executive orders and swift legislative action. The administration issued a series of executive orders that reshaped federal policy in key areas. In energy, a national emergency declaration accelerated domestic oil and gas development and paused several clean energy initiatives. These changes are particularly relevant right here in California's energy capital. We've been closely monitoring these developments to ensure Kern's energy sector remains competitive and well supported. In Congress, last year's elections saw the Republican Party hold a narrow majority in the House and gain a slighter, stronger majority in the Senate. That slim margin in the House has made legislative negotiations more complex, with internal divisions among fiscal hawks, populists, and establishment conservatives shaping the fate of key measures. While partisan tensions have remained high, there was bipartisan movement on key issues like housing, veteran services, and workforce development. One of the most consequential legislative actions was the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, H.R. 1, signed on July 4th. This comprehensive law restructured major federal entitlement programs such as CalFresh and Medi-Cal, with the goal of streamlining operations and reducing long-term federal expenditures. While the law does shift more responsibility on states and counties, it also opens the door for more localized control and innovation. For Kern County, this means preparing for increased service demands and adapting to new eligibility and reimbursement requirements. At the same time, the threat of a government shutdown loomed large throughout the year, and delays in the appropriations process created uncertainty for counties nationwide. We provided the county with detailed analysis and contingency planning to help mitigate potential disruptions to grants, public health programs, and workforce operations. Finally, the regulatory environment was also active and consequential. Federal agencies revisited longstanding rules, including the definitions of the waters of the United States under the Clean Waters Act. In short, 2025 has been a year of rapid change, high stakes, and significant implications for counties. Through it all, our focus has remained on ensuring Kern County's voice is heard in Washington and your interests are protected and advanced in every major policy fight in Washington, D.C. I'll turn it back to Ben.
Thank you very much, Spencer. So now let's get into some of the details of the work we undertook on behalf of the county in 2025. First, we engaged actively on 7 federal bills, 5 that we supported and 2 that we opposed. Let me start with those that we supported first. H.R. 471, known as the Fix Our Forests Act. This is a bill aimed at reducing wildfire threats and improving forest management. The bill passed the House of Representatives back in January and advanced through the Senate Agriculture Committee this fall. I would say that this is a great development for this bipartisan bill. It shows it has momentum going into the second year of the legislative session. There's a lot more work to be done to get this bill signed into law, as both the House and Senate will need to iron out their differences between 2 competing versions of the bill. The next bills we supported were H.R. 22 and S. 128, known collectively as the SAVE Act. These bills would require proof of citizenship for voter registration. And H.R. 22 passed the House of Representatives and is now under consideration in the Senate. S. 128 is still in committee. But the progress of H.R. 22 means it's on the Senate's plate for action. The next bill we supported, H.R. 2499, that was a bill to codify Executive Order 14248, which was aimed at boosting election integrity. The bill was introduced in the House but is not yet advanced out of committee. More work to be done on that in the second year of the session. And then the final bill we supported was H.R. 3944, the Military Construction and Veterans Affairs Appropriations Act. That bill passed the House and was approved also by the Senate Appropriations Committee, but will require further action following the end of the government shutdown. Although I just learned yesterday that this bill is it could play a role in breaking the impasse over the federal government shutdown, so we're hopeful that some action could be made on this bill shortly. All right, now let me turn to the bills that we opposed. Those bills were S. 1240, the Defending America's Future Elections Act, and H.R. 3132, the Choice for Veterans Act. Both raised concerns for the county, and we oppose these measures, and I am pleased to report that both are stalled in committee. So we're asked to kind of quantify our successes, and I'll just make it clear to the board as well as those here in the public that, like in the state, Congress has a 2-year legislative session. We're approaching the end of the first year of the 119th Congress. So there is potential for action in the coming months between now and January 3rd, 2027, when the 119th Congress concludes. But as we stand right now, we have a snapshot in time for you. Of the 5 supported bills, 5 bills we supported, 3 advanced out of their House of Origin and 2 are stalled in committee. So I did the math, 60% success rate at the moment for the bills that we were supporting. And of the bills we opposed, both stalled in committee. Again, 100% favorable outcome for those bills. But I will stress more work needs to be done to make sure that our positions on these bills and others are maintained throughout the second year of the federal legislative session. All right, moving on to our fiscal and budgetary analysis. One of our major focuses this past year was to prepare Kern County for success in the fiscal year 2027 federal earmark cycle. We worked to strategically position projects to align with the priorities of our congressional partners. So it was really, we had some great engagement with our congressional delegation who are doing great work for the county to really learn what their priorities are for federal funding opportunities through the federal earmark process. And based on those conversations, we were able to align the county's interests with the interests of our federal delegation to propose projects for the upcoming earmark cycle that align with their goals. So while we've made strong progress on a funding strategy, we also faced some serious fiscal challenges this year, most notably from passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, H.R. 1 or the OBBBA. So right now, there are estimates about the fiscal impact of H.R. 1. I think a key thing to understand with implementation of H.R. 1 is that some of the changes to eligibility requirements, federal state cost share for programs like CalFresh and Medi-Cal have delayed implementation. They do not go into effect until either 2026 or 2027. And so, but whereas we stand right now in the CalFresh program, the state legislative analyst's office estimates the possibility for a $3.3 billion annual funding gap in the CalFresh program. Again, emphasizing that those are estimates and that the state of California, depending on how they react, has the potential to bring down that funding gap. Because right now, the changes made to the SNAP program to CalFresh in H.R. 1 were aimed at incentivizing states to lower their error rate payments, their error rate, which is a rate calculated by USDA that determines overpayments for SNAP benefits, so someone receiving more benefit than they're entitled to under the law, or perhaps payments made to ineligible beneficiaries. And right now, that error rate in California is over 10%. We're about middle, high end among states in terms of our error rate. The bill, H.R. 1, maintains a 100% federal cost share for states with an error rate under 6%, thereby incentivizing states to bring down that error rate, trying to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse within SNAP. So California, but for every percentage above 6% on that error rate, the state has to contribute more to the SNAP program. And so the $3.3 billion number is a worst-case scenario if California is unable to bring down its error rate. But if California is able to bring its error rate down to 6% or below, the federal cost share will remain at 100%. So that's SNAP. Another item in H.R. 1 with a fiscal impact on the county is the administrative cost change. Right now, under California state law, administrative costs for the SNAP program are shared 50-50 between the state and counties. And the federal cost share is 75-25 federal state for administrative costs. I'm throwing a lot of numbers out there, but what H.R. 1 did is it lowered that federal cost share, thereby passing on more costs to the county for administrative costs in the SNAP program. That is one of those changes that has a delayed implementation until next fiscal year of October 1st, 2026. And so we're working with the county now to prepare for that, as well as come up with an advocacy strategy to see if implementation delays are possible. But that is one of the fiscal impacts of H.R. 1 on the county. And then looking at changes to Medi-Cal under the H.R. 1, again, these are all estimates, but Medi-Cal, it's possible that up to $30 billion in federal funding could be lost as a result of the bill. Again, the state of California can make changes to bring down that number. A lot will be done up in Sacramento between now and implementation of these changes next year. And then last bit, for both these federal programs, eligibility verification requirements will change. effectively doubling the rate at which the county has to verify eligibility, which is an added burden to the county's staffing. So in response to this, we worked closely with our congressional delegation to highlight the role the county plays in administering these federal programs and urge lawmakers to protect and preserve the federal safety net. We emphasize the real-world impacts of these changes, and we look forward to working and continue to engage with our federal delegation as we work together to implement H.R. 1 and the changes it makes. So next, I want to talk about just our additional work that we did outside of those two buckets, and that's talking a little bit more about our work on regulatory engagement. Right, because in Washington, a lot can be accomplished through the regulatory process, and it's just as important, if not in many cases more important, to make sure we're on top of the ever-changing regulatory environment as it is legislation moving through Congress. And so in addition to our legislative work, we were engaged to represent the county's goals in the federal rulemaking process. We submitted formal comment letters on several major issues, including the Waters of the United States, or WOTUS, regulatory rule changes. Our comments urged the federal agencies to adopt a clear and limited definition of WOTUS, one that aligns with the Supreme Court's precedent and avoids unnecessary federal overreach. This is especially important for Kern County's land use planning and local industries. Second, we opposed the 340B rebate model pilot program proposed by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. This is a change to a drug rebate program that would have placed financial strain on safety net healthcare providers like Kern Medical by replacing upfront drug discounts with retroactive rebates. We mobilized support from our congressional delegation to push back on this proposal to protect that critical healthcare resource. And then third, we submitted comments to the Bureau of Land Management regarding oil and gas leasing in the Bakersfield Field Office area. We emphasized Kern County's role in California's energy production and urged the BLM to maintain leasing availability across hundreds of thousands of acres of public lands in the region. Beyond formal comments, we also provided analysis on a series of executive orders issued by the administration covering energy policy, workforce reforms, and water infrastructure. These orders have had broad implications for Kern County, and our early assessments helped the county leadership prepare for regulatory shifts and potential funding changes. So our regulatory engagement, in addition to our engagement with Congress and the legislative branch, ensured that Kern County's voice was heard not just in Congress, but across all federal agencies. And then lastly, last thing I want to highlight about our advocacy work for 2025 is on additional legislation with impacts potentially on the county. Let me first start with transportation, where we closely tracked the early stages of the surface transportation reauthorization, which is set to expire at the end of the fiscal year on September 30th, 2026. This legislation will shape how federal dollars flow to local infrastructure projects. We advocated strongly for continued support for rural roads and infrastructure, which are vital to Kern's unincorporated communities and regional mobility. In the area of defense, we supported provisions in the National Defense Authorization Act and related military construction bills. These are measures directly benefiting Kern County's military installations, including Edwards Air Force Base and China Lake. And we helped make sure that the county's interest in those installations was reflected in the NDAA. And then on workforce development front, we engaged in the reauthorization of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act, or WIOA. We pushed for greater flexibility for local workforce boards and have advocated for funding that supports training programs in energy sector jobs and agricultural labor. In housing policy, we tracked the advancement of the Road to Housing Act, which is a bipartisan bill aimed at expanding affordable housing and streamlining environmental reviews. We supported provisions in that bill that would increase access to community development block grant funds and enhance rental assistance for the county, both of which are important for the housing initiatives here in the county. And finally, we advocated for continued federal support for rural communities through two key funding streams, the Secure Rural Schools Program and the Payment in Lieu of Taxes Program, or PILT, two programs that help offset the loss of property tax dollars because of the federal lands here in the county. So just in closing, I want to make sure I'm thanking the board, thanking the Legislative Program Committee, and the CAO and her team for your continued partnership and trust in our work. In particular, it's been great to engage with Supervisors Peters and Flores on the LPC this year. I really commend the board for establishing the LPC last year. That's been a great opportunity for us to make sure we're touching base on a regular basis to receive direct input from the board on your priorities. Receiving that direction is key for us to be able to work, be able to react in the moment when opportunities arise in Congress and to be effective representatives of the county in Washington, D.C. Also want to make sure I'm thanking, again, CAO Nancy Anderson and in particular Thomas Brown, who we work closely with. At TPA, we really see ourselves as an extension of staff, and so being able to have great working relationships with the CAO's office, they're really making things click and making sure that the county's priorities are represented both in Sacramento and in Washington, D.C. So with that, we look forward to continuing to work together in 2026, building on the progress we've made and navigating this evolving federal landscape together. So thank you for the opportunity to serve Kern County, and we welcome any questions you might have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you for that excellent presentation. Are there members of the public that would like to ask questions or provide input on the presentation as just received by our federal legislative lobbyists? Mr. Shin.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Madam Chair, board members. I just want to say a big thank you to this team for the great brief. I know being a member that attends as part of the audience with the LPC, a lot of information is transmitted very quickly, and you have to have your thinking cap on when you attend, but it's well worth it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Mr. Shin. I really do. Dennis?
I'd like to thank these two firms for educating our county and taking care of us. But I would make a recommendation. Items of this importance, I think, should be moved up in the agenda. If you look out here, we have no public. So if that can be arranged, I think it would be very important for the public to get an education. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Dennis McLean for the record. Thank you. Any other member of the public at this time? Okay, we're going to come back to the board. Supervisor Flores.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McLean and Mr. Shin, for that recommendation. It's actually a good recommendation because this is important. We would lose some audience. Also, thank you for your attendance at our LPC meetings because your citizen engagement and participation is very important to our board and for our DC lobbyists and state lobbyists to hear directly from our local citizens is important. Thank you, staff. Thank you, Thomas, CEO's office, and thank you to our both firms, to our state firm, we're well served, and to our federal firm. And thank you for the overview, very comprehensive. Your read shows that you really know DC, your legislative grasp, and more importantly, the grasp of the Central Valley from where you come. You understand the nuances, what makes us different, and you're a strong advocate for us in Washington. And also, I appreciate your accessibility on short notice. You and the president, Chris Townsend, met with me in Washington very quickly and easily when you have tons of deadlines and clients that you're serving, so I appreciate that. And thank you for your work on the BLM issue and energy. And lastly, at our last LPC meeting, we talked about the budget shutdown. I asked for an update because it's fluid and we're working quickly. And I know about a week has gone by, and you had a very sound grasp of all the moving parts. Some time has gone by. You mentioned an inflection point on November 1st. That date has come and gone. Anything that you want to add for the benefit of our public? Because this is one of the most pressing issues here that we have.
Thank you, Supervisor Flores. Yes, that obviously, our update today was focused on what we've done in the past, but we're all really focused on the current debate around getting out of this government shutdown and the impacts that it's had here in Kern County. We heard from the food bank earlier Obviously, in our LPC meeting last Monday, I talked about that November 1st being a big inflection date because of SNAP benefits expiring, and we're seeing the direct impacts of that now. But also the beginning of open enrollment on the Affordable Care Act, healthcare insurance exchanges, and then also today, Election Day. And it seems like, yesterday and today, the Senate was back in D.C., and they are having serious negotiations about a way out of the shutdown that involve the potential for combining a different short-term funding extension that would go into January with perhaps 3 of the 12 annual funding bills, grouping those items together, pass them through the Senate. The House would then have to come back and vote on that. Now, there's a lot of what-ifs here, but should that agreement come together either tomorrow, Thursday, it's possible the Senate could vote on it this weekend and the House vote on it early next week, ending the shutdown. Again, a lot has to come into place for that to happen, but there are some promising signs coming out of Washington early this week about getting out of this situation.
Thank you so much for that, Supervisor Flores.
Also, lastly, thank you also for your work with our local congressional delegation, because he's actually, working with Valadeo, working with Fong on projects for the district that are very targeted for us that would prove beneficial on economic development front and many other fronts. So those are things that we appreciate, that you're giving that personalization for Kern County, so thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Flores. Any other remarks from my colleagues at this time? Seeing no other input from the public, I'm going to close that portion and ask that we entertain a motion to receive and file this report.
So moved.
Thank you, Supervisor Couch. We have a motion and several seconds. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay, very good. Now we're going to move to item number 25, which is an action item. It's a request to approve the state legislative consultation services. Without going into all of the specifics there, I'll just turn it over to you, Mr. Not CAO, but within the CAO's office.
Madam Chair, members of the board.
I took your raise away just now.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today about our state legislative consulting services and discuss some options for your board to consider. As you'll recall, on November 5th, 2024, this board awarded a one-year agreement to Shaw Yoder, Antwi, Schmelzer, and Lang, SYASL, following a competitive RFP process. The board directed staff to return with a recommendation at the conclusion of that one-year term to determine whether to extend the agreement beyond 2025. Since then, the LPC, established in February of 25, has played a key role in monitoring SYASL's performance. The LPC has received formal updates from the consultant, which has improved coordination and communication on legislative matters important to Kern County. Given this context and considering the more robust annual overview presented by Mr. Yoder earlier this morning, the following options are presented. Option 1, approve amendment number 1 to extend the agreement with SYASL for 2 more years through November 6, 2027 at a cost not to exceed $147,600. The amendment has already been reviewed and approved as to form by County Council and is available for action by your board today. Option 2, direct the County Administrative Office to issue a new request for proposals. Considering that the county just recently performed a robust RFP process in late 2024 for state lobbying services, this option would deviate from the county's typical 5-year cycle for reviewing professional services awarded through an RFP. Given the consultant's strong performance, the value of maintaining continuity of service in our legislative efforts, and the recent completion of an open, fair, and competitive RFP process, staff feels it would be prudent for the board to strongly consider option 1 and extend the agreement with SYASL. However, we are prepared to proceed with an RFP if that is the board's preference. This concludes staff's prepared comments. We're available for any questions your board may have.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, Supervisor Flores, are you punched in now, or?
That was for my last.
Okay,
Prior,
very good.
prior.
So for the public's benefit, this matter has come before us before, and it is back before us again to consider the services from the gentleman, as you saw, presented today. I would be inclined, frankly, to make a motion myself. I want to hear from my colleagues about Mr. Yoder's firm, as I know them very closely, work with them intimately, and believe that they are the best positioned for Kern County moving forward. Sincerely and in all good faith, believe that to be true. That has been my personal experience, and I'm very grateful for the services. But I would want to hear from my colleagues. I see Supervisor Couch has punched in. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, I was just going to make a motion on, well, let me go back to what you just said a moment ago, Thomas. We just did an RFP. There was a successful applicant or respondent. We gave them a one-year contract. Typically, with an RFP, we could go 5.
The Supervisor Couch, through the chair, that's correct. We typically do a 3-year agreement, and then we have the option to extend for 2 years beyond that because an RFP process allows for a 5-year total term.
And that's what's in this agreement?
Correct.
2 years with a 2-year extension is what you're
That's correct,
recommending.
since they just had the 1-year basically tryout.
All right, I'll make a motion on staff's recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Couch, I appreciate that. I see both Supervisors Flores and Peters in that order have punched in. Supervisor Flores.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And now this is a new punch in. So as I was giving thanks to our federal lobbyists, I did not get a chance to talk about Yoder prior because it was public comment and I didn't weigh in. So I just want to thank you also for your state presence, and we really had a banner year in terms of legislative deliveries. When you look at 237, when you look at the property tax exclusion not being extended, local restructuring of our elections department. So I want to thank you for your communication, your accessibility. I remember speaking with you in real time. I was more bearish. I was guardedly optimistic. I was more bearish than our state senator on 237, and she actually was in a strong position, and it mattered because she brought down the money, and she had leverage that I didn't even think we had. So I appreciate her, and I appreciate you thanking her on behalf of our board. But my point is that we were really navigating in real time from the halls of Sacramento. You kept us abreast, and that is a huge legislative victory that will have ramifications hopefully beyond a decade. So I wanted to thank you and just keep up the good work.
Is that a second, Jeff?
Sure, I'll make a second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second thus far. We have Supervisor Peters. Your thoughts?
Okay, thank you. I have some prepared remarks I wasn't going to read, but in light of the way the conversation is going, I'll start there. I wanted to start with thanking Mr. Yoder and his team for their more than a decade of being our state lobbying partner, and for their assistance during this past year. We have definitely had a few big wins for our county this year at the state level. That said, this board entered into a 1-year contract in order to evaluate performance before entering into a 2-year extension. That 1-year review period was intended to let the Legislative Program Committee observe not just outcomes, but also the quality of communication and engagement with supervisors and staff. It was meant to see whether the firm could provide the level of engagement, communication, and advocacy that Kern County requires in order to be as effective as possible in Sacramento. Over the past year, there have certainly been some improvements. I appreciate that the firm has provided more regular updates and has supported some important initiatives. But even with those steps forward, I remain concerned that we still are not seeing the depth of advocacy or communication that our county truly needs, particularly given the complex and often challenging environment that we face at the state level. Kern County operates in a political climate where many of our priorities, whether related to energy, water, or local control, are under constant pressure. That means our state legislative advocate needs to not only be active, but proactive, strategic, and directly engaged with this board. As policymakers, our lobbying partner needs to actively be involving us in the process, not just sending weekly newsletters. Extending a contract for 2 more years without clear, measurable performance data, I don't believe would serve our constituents well. If we're going to invest in professional advocacy, I believe we should expect professional accountability. Going forward, our state lobbying contract, in my opinion, should include specific performance benchmarks, including measurable key performance indicators for communication, responsiveness, engagement with supervisors, and tangible legislative outcomes. Those metrics should allow this board to regularly assess whether our advocate is meeting expectations and to make adjustments if not. Establishing that level of accountability through an open RFP process is going to help ensure Kern County's voice is strong enough to not only be heard, but to resonate in Sacramento. I don't want to disregard the progress that's been made since these conversations started a couple of years ago. Things are definitely better than the issues we were having. I do want to ensure, however, that we have the very best possible representation for Kern County. One that fully understands our challenges, reflects our priorities, and engages this board directly and consistently. We switched federal lobbyists recently, and we immediately saw a dramatic improvement in communication, responsiveness, and alignment with board priorities. That same level of performance and partnership should be expected from our state representation as well. So for those reasons, I move that we approve option 2, directing the county administrative office to issue a new RFP for state legislative consulting services and to include in that RFP specific measurable performance indicators to help guide future contract evaluations. This would include metrics like supervisor engagement with documented coordination with individual supervisors and inclusion in meetings with our state delegation or committee hearings when appropriate. Strategic communication, including identifying issues in each district and opportunities to support, oppose, or even introduce new legislation. And lastly, advocacy results with measurable progress based on legislative priorities identified by board and county staff. I believe this process would ensure that this or any other qualified firm would compete on equal footing under clear and transparent expectations for communication, engagement, and results that reflect the needs of Kern County and its constituents. Our job is to make sure Kern County is well represented at all levels, and the best way to do that is to hold our advocacy partners to the same high standard of accountability that our constituents expect from us.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Peters. I see County Council Position 1 has plugged in.
Yes, thank you,
punched in,
Madam.
rather.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted, for clarifications, we already have a motion and a second on the table, but I think we need clarification on Supervisor Couch's motion. He said motion on staff's recommendation, but there are two options there.
I'm sorry, I meant the preference. So option 1, is that the 2 years with the 2-year extension?
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Couch.
But if there's another motion after that, is that considered a substitute motion? You have to take action on that first?
Well, I think we had a motion and a second already. I think we
Right.
need to take care of that one. It just needed some clarification. So my recommendation would be to handle the first motion.
Should
and
I
then
handle that
the
now,
second one.
Council?
If there's no more discussion, you're ready to move forward, yes.
Got it. I see Supervisor Parlier. I'm ready to take a vote on that matter, but I don't want to cut out Supervisor Parlier's remarks and thoughts.
Well, I think we should allow an opportunity, at least for some response, to discuss a little bit of what was said about, moving forward and doing better. I really want to compliment this board on the LPC. I think that has really helped with the engagement with Thomas also. But look at a contract of, I'm just going to round up, basically $150,000 a year. The ask, and I understand Supervisor Peters' remarks, but to have that sort of engagement, maybe that is more than $150,000. I don't know. But Paul, could you just respond briefly?
Madam Chair, may I interject for a second?
Please do.
Supervisor Parley, through the chair, the contract is for about $74,000 per year. So the grand total is about $150,000 over 2 years.
Perfect, thank you. Paul?
Thank you. I want to state, I'd like to state for the record too that, I absolutely respect and actually quite adore my colleague Supervisor Peters. So it's unfortunate that it appears he has not had the same kind of experience that I have had because in my experience, I have regular aggressive communication, whatever I need, whenever I need it. Paul Yoder's firm, and not just him, but several members of his team are incredibly accessible, incredibly aggressive in answering any concerns that I have. I can't imagine them frankly, being more responsive than they have been from what I have experienced. I understand I'm only one person, and I say that with all due respect to all of my colleagues here, but to me, that they are above and beyond the call of duty to what I expect to hear from and respond to from lobbyists. Furthermore, I know Sacramento very well, and the position that this firm is in and respected across the board, across all aisles, and we certainly have our disagreements very respectfully, and I appreciate that, but is really bar none. And so I just want to state, I understand not everybody has the same experience, but I see absolute excellence consistently across the board. I understand that's my experience, but to me, we are meeting and exceeding what I believe is necessary for us to aggressively pursue our interests in Sacramento, which is very complicated for Kern County. So I just want to state that. And Mr. Yoder, if you want to respond pursuant to...
Well, Madam Chair, let me just interject real quick. So I'm the new guy, you know. So, you know, your experience is vast. Philip's is vast too. But I'm getting conflicting information. So I just want to get Paul a chance to respond, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, board members. Thank you, Madam Chair, for inviting me up. Thank you for the question, Supervisor. First of all, I just want to restate our results. I think our results, I hope, this year of all years, they speak for themselves. That not just that results happened, but obviously a lot of conversations had to occur for those results to happen. With the LPC, with the CAO and staff, with county department heads. I am available at all times to all members of the board and to all staff in Kern County. I appreciate one supervisor's earlier saying that we were communicating in real time. That's what I do. I do that with every single county supervisor that I represent in the state of California. Having said that, I do want to say our firm is really kind of grounded in a certain model, which is information flows through the CAO's office and to us through the CAO's office. And that's just the way we've always been set up. And I admit that. But having said that, I give my cell number to anybody who wants it. I reach out when I think it's pertinent. I don't discriminate. I take all calls from all supervisors and all department heads, and I just honestly resent any other representation of the way I conduct myself every day. I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. So I see Supervisor Peters.
Thank you. I appreciate, Madam Chair, your gracious comments, and I respect greatly your opinion and experience as well. I'm just sharing the experience that I've had.
Of course.
When we first started having this conversation, that was the one ask that I had when I met with Mr. Yoder and his firm, was for some increased communication. In the year that followed that, I didn't receive any. In this past year, since we've done this one-year renewal, it has greatly increased, which I acknowledge and I appreciate. The experience that I've had in politics so far, which again is completely different than some other people's experience might have been. But for example, in my district, water has been a big issue, especially in East Kern. I've met with multiple committees, testified before those committees, engaged with our state representatives, with our lobbyists there, working through these issues. I've been contacted, asked about what's going on, what can we do, how can we be more effective, and I haven't seen that on the county side of the house. I would ask my colleagues, I mean, if you have received the level of engagement that you feel is satisfactory, that's outstanding. I just haven't seen that personally. I haven't had the opportunity to meet with many of our representatives along with our lobbyists on county issues. I've never been asked to attend a committee hearing to share the county's perspective. I would ask my colleagues if they've spoken with any of our representatives, if they have asked them how many times that our representatives have met with Mr. Yoder about these issues. I think they may be surprised by the answer that they receive. So I'm sharing my perspective and the experience that I've had, and I think that we would be well served by having an RFP that opens it to everybody, this firm included, but including those metrics moving forward that set standards for what engagement we expect with this board, and the opportunity to share what's going on in your district, the opportunity to engage in Sacramento at a more proactive level, because I believe that that's what's needed to more effectively advocate for Kern County's needs.
Okay. Supervisor Peters, thank you very much. I think it would be beneficial to call the vote at this time, and let's try to proceed on this matter. Thank you, everybody, for your input. It's healthy to disagree and debate. I do it all the time up here, as you know, and try very hard not to take it personally. So that is the nature of the business we do. But we have a motion by Supervisor Couch. We have a second by Supervisor Flores, and I'd ask my colleagues to please cast your votes. Oh, my goodness, forgive me. I am so sorry. May I ask the public to weigh in at this point if you have comments, questions, or actions? Thank you, Council. Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the public portion, come back to the board. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes, colleagues.
The motion is approved. 4 ayes, 1 opposed. Supervisor Peters.
Okay, very good. Does that bring us to the end of item number 25? Okay, so, moving forward, I absolutely love healthy debate. I love disagreement. It happens. All of us are individuals. We have different life experiences. And I ask that, we continue to move forward. We're about to go into closed session here, and we have to talk about other issues that are very important, and we have to move past whatever disagreements or things occur here on the dais. And so I think that's incumbent on all of us to take that very seriously. Okay, so moving forward, we have item number 26, which is a request to approve our federal legislative consultation services. And so CAO's office, Thomas Brown, your thoughts, sir.
Madam Chair and members of the board, again, thank you for the opportunity to speak today about our federal legislative consulting services. Again, back in November of 2024, the board approved a one-year agreement with Townsend Public Affairs. Since the LPC was established, that committee has played a key role in monitoring TPA's performance. The LPC has received formal updates from consultant, which has improved coordination and communication on legislative matters important to the county. Again, given that context and the presentation from Mr. Golding and his team earlier this morning, there are 2 options presented to your board. Option 1 is approve amendment number 1 to extend the agreement with TPA for 2 more years through November 6, 2027 at a cost not to exceed $156,000. That's over a 2-year period. The amendment has already been reviewed and approved as to form by County Council and is available for action by your board today. Again, option 2 would be to disregard that process and reissue another RFP for federal lobbying services. Given the consultant's strong performance, the value of maintaining continuity of service, and the thorough RFP process we undertook, it's staff's recommendation that the board strongly consider option 1 and extend the agreement with TPA. If your board's preference is for an RFP, we will be happy to undertake that process as well. This concludes staff's prepared comments, and we're available for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Do we have members of the public who would like to weigh in on the federal legislative lobbying contract or issues that you heard today? Okay, we're going to close the public hearing, return to the board. My colleagues, I have less experience with our federal legislative lobbyists, but I've been very impressed with what I've heard thus far. I hear back from Supervisor Flores on a pretty regular basis about how he feels about them. So I do feel good about the services that we receive, and I'm very grateful for them. And I appreciate the excellent presentation today. So since the public portion is closed, I'd ask my colleagues for your thoughts, your comments moving forward.
I'll make a motion to go with option 1.
Second.
Supervisor Peters, thank you. We have a motion on option 1, and we have by Supervisor Peters and a second by Supervisor Flores. Seeing no supervisor punched in and having closed the public hearing, let's please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay, very good. Lastly, and I apologize for the late morning, we are almost done here. Not that we're going to rush through this issue, we will not. We have a presentation regarding the pros and cons of moving to a charter county. This presentation will occur by County Counsel Kendra Graham, and it is, a response to October 7, 2025 referral regarding pros and cons of a county charter. County Counsel, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I think we're just waiting for the PowerPoint to come up. So on October 7th of this year, your board requested staff provide a report on the pros and cons, or the advantages and disadvantages of becoming a charter county. This response will cover your board's authority to adopt a charter, as well as the authority under the charter, the advantages and disadvantages of adopting a charter, and the process and timelines for adopting a charter. As an overview, as a general overview, charters may only address matters of local concern and cannot supersede laws governing issues of statewide concern. County charters provide opportunities for local self-governments as authorized specifically in the California Constitution. Adoption of a charter requires a majority vote of authorized voters in a county-wide election. The authority provided for the county to initiate a charter is found in Article 11, Section 3 of the California Constitution, and it provides in pertinent part, for its own government, a county may adopt a charter by majority vote of its electors. The provisions of a charter are the law of the state and have the force and effect of legislative enactments. Article 11, Section 4 of the California Constitution sets forth the required elements of a county charter and addresses the structure and operation of a county government. These elements both define as well as limit the powers that may be authorized under a county charter. Now to go over what some of those elements are. The first one is that you have to provide for a governing body of 5 or more members, which is what you currently have. The compensation, terms, and removal of members of a governing body. This does not include, let me make sure, sorry about that. This does not include tenure for your board. The courts have found that tenure and terms are not synonymous. So there is some case law on that issue. So while you can define the terms, you cannot, that's not the same as the tenure. Another element is that you must provide for an elected sheriff, an elected district attorney, an elected assessor, and other officers, either their election or appointment, and the compensation, terms, and removal of those officers. Another element is the performance of functions required by statute. In regard to this particular element, the Supreme Court has determined that, as held by, in the case of Dibbs v. County of San Diego, charter cities have plenary authority to govern on all municipal affairs, and those provisions supersede all laws inconsistent with them. There is no corresponding grant of authority and autonomy over county affairs of county charters. Rather, the Constitution requires charter counties to provide for the performance of functions that are required by statute. And I just wanted to point that out to show what some of those distinctions are between a city charter and a county charter. Another element is that the powers and duties of governing bodies and all the county officers you shall provide for the powers and duties of governing bodies and all other county officers, and for consolidation and segregation of county officers, and for the manner of filing all vacancies occurring therein. Finally, the fixing and regulation by governing bodies by ordinance of the appointment and number of assistants, deputies, clerks, and other persons to be employed, and for the prescribing and regulating by such bodies of the powers, duties, qualifications, and compensation of such persons, the times at which, the terms for which they shall be appointed, and the manner of their appointment. As stated earlier, the Supreme Court has determined that a charter county's authority is limited to those specific subject areas or elements contained in Article 11, Section 4 of the California Constitution. In other words, a charter county's home rule authority is largely confined to matters concerning the structure and operation of county government, whereas the version of home rule afforded to a charter city is substantially more expansive. Home rule is defined as the ability to establish a governmental structure different from that prescribed in the general laws of the government code. Although charter counties lack the municipal affair authority of charter cities, they do share some of the authority exercisable by county charter cities. Again, it's always going to be over that structure and operation of their local government. Courts have reasoned that counties constitute, and this is a word from a Supreme Court case, mere political subdivisions over the state. Courts have reasoned that counties constitute mere political subdivisions of the state of California and therefore possess only such legislative authority as has been expressly conferred upon them by the California Constitution and state law. The California Supreme Court has held that a county's charter provisions must harmonize with laws addressing matters of statewide concern. State laws seeking to accomplish a statewide objective will prevail over conflicting local regulations, even if they impinge upon some phase of local control. As stated in another court case, it's not always clear which laws are a matter of local concern and which laws are a matter of statewide concern, and there's no clear test to make this determination. But judicial interpretation is often necessary, and there are numerous cases in both the appellate courts and the Supreme Court, as well as Attorney General opinions. So any recommendations to add anything to a charter would have to be thoroughly vetted through research and possibly seeking an opinion. Courts will strictly construe to allow for maximum state authority over counties, and that is a statement that was also taken out of a Supreme Court case. In general, a matter that affects only the residents of a county is more likely to be deemed to be a local concern. Conversely, if a matter affects persons outside the county in many ways or in significant ways, it will probably not be considered a matter of local concern. We can also turn to historical considerations. Matters traditionally controlled by local authorities will likely be considered matters of local concern. Finally, in regard to state preemption, should your board direct staff to draft a charter, any provisions of your charter, any provisions your board wish to include in the charter will need to be thoroughly evaluated, which I already stated, so let me skip through that one. Moving on to the pros and cons. These were a bit difficult to come up with, and I think they were difficult because what one person may consider a pro, another person may consider a con. So I tried really hard to look at this evenly. I even reached out to other counties to see if anyone has come up with lists of pros and cons, and it turns out that numerous counties up and down the state have requested a list of pros and cons, and none have ever been provided and I think that the reason is because they're a little difficult. So I'm going to do my best here. I've kind of separated these out by categories. For the first category, I have county versus city, and by versus, I just mean the distinctions between the two. We've already gone over those, but basically the pro for a county charter is that we have home rule authority over the structure, the structure and operation of local government. A con is that our home rule is limited to structure and operation of local government, and it's substantially less than that afforded to a city. Another con is that the county charter authority must be specifically provided for in the California Constitution. Those elements that I went over earlier are the only things that we really can provide for in our charter if we chose to do one. Moving on to the next one. The next one I have in our category county versus state. And the pro I came up with here is just that it does provide us with local governance. The cons are that state preemption on matters of statewide concern, courts will strictly construe to allow for maximum state authority over counties. Again, because they find us to be mere political subdivisions of the state. The next category I have up is election. The pro is that it must be approved by qualified voters of a countywide election. I put the same thing for a con because I really couldn't find a distinction there. I don't know whether it's a con or a pro, and again, I think it depends on how you're looking at it and what your preferences are. However, to clarify the cons just a little bit, amendments to charters must be approved by the voters in a countywide election, and that sometimes can be a significant cost to the county, rising up to $3.4 million per election. Now, that depends on whether or not there are other things on the election as well. For instance, as we talk about later, I'm going to talk about an April date that is a possibility to put forth a county charter proposal. If we were the only thing on the election, we'd be looking at $3.4 million. If you were to set it on the June where there's other things on the election, that cost is borne by the other matters that are on that same election. So, but it can be costly. It could also result in matters that require amendment remaining in the charter due to failure to run an election or lack of votes. In talking to other counties, these two things were the biggest con that most of them could come up with. That a lot of them have stated that they often end up with outdated charter provisions in their charter because they can't get it passed through the voters, or they just don't run the election because of the cost of it. Another category I have come up with here is voter initiatives. And again, I just put the same thing here. Voters may create or amend charters by initiative. And I also put that as a con. As to administrative flexibility, a pro is that it allows counties to tailor their governance structure to fit its unique needs and preferences. I'm going to move on to the next slide before I go to cons, because it's continued here. And these were all listed in the elements: set compensation terms, not tenure, and removal of board members, consolidation and segregation of offices. Determine which offices will be elected or appointed, except for the sheriff, DA, and assessor, compensation terms, and removal. I apologize. Determine interim vacancies on the board.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Council. Supervisor Flores has a question.
Sorry,
Sure.
I don't ordinarily do this
That's okay.
mid-presentation, but you touched upon a point that has some interest to me. If we go in this direction, one of the pluses, I think, if I heard you correctly, you mentioned the offices that cannot be touched, assessor, sheriff, but we went through this exercise of restructuring the auditor controller with the elections repositioning. So would that charter authority, would that have given us the authority to move forward without the state legislative bill that was needed? Based on what you said, that's how I'm interpreting it, but I'm an attorney.
I
Not an
believe that is correct, because they're not one of, I think that you could have, as a charter, you would have to determine whether that was an elected or an appointed position.
Okay, so that would have
Because-
given us the authority, had we been a charter.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
Sorry,
it's only the
she
sheriff,
touched on
DA,
it.
and assessor that are required to be
thank you.
elected. You're welcome. Okay, the other one is to determine interim vacancies on the board to be filled by election only, as opposed to being filled by the governor appointment. Okay, now I'm gonna back up to, the con was that what your board may propose for a charter or what is adopted as a charter may be amended by future boards or voter initiatives. So, it's subject to challenge by way of initiatives. I think that was my last one there. And so I wanted to move on to the process to become a charter. The process for adopting a county charter is established by statute. It may be initiated by two primary ways, and those are set forth in the government code. One way is by a charter commission, and the other way is by board proposed charter. And typically what I've seen is those are usually done by ordinance. Under the charter commission process, that can be either board initiated or voter initiated. So in essence, there's really three ways to get a charter. A charter commission, a charter may be initiated by ordinance adopted by a majority vote of members of the governing body of each county. The ordinance shall declare that the public interest requires the election of a charter commission of 15 qualified electors of the county to be elected by the qualified electors of the county at a general or special election. Proceedings to enact a charter may also be initiated by a petition of qualified electors. So in essence, what this is saying is that if you go the charter commission route, it can be done by your board or it can be done by the electors. It's going to require that item go to the voters twice. Once to determine if there should be a charter county, and if so, then it's a two-part question. One is, should we have a charter? And if so, now we vote on who those commissioners are going to be, and there'll be 15. Then the commission convenes, and if it's approved, the commission would convene, create the charter, and then it would again, after it's approved by the commission, it would then have to go back to the voters to be approved. So that's twice going to the voters if you go the commission route. I'm going to skip over that one. An alternative is through board proposal. An alternative to the commission process permits your board to initiate the charter process directly without the election of a charter commission. That would, if you chose this route, you would only have to go to the voters once. The government code provides that as an alternative to the charter commission, a governing body of a county on its own motion may propose or cause to be proposed a proposed charter to submit the proposal for adoption of the voters. That's a lot of proposal language in there. So either of these processes may be initiated by ordinance, and it must be approved by qualified electors of the county at a general or special election not less than 88 days after the completion of the required advertising in an official paper. If the charter is approved by the voters, it shall be deemed to be ratified, but shall not take effect until it's accepted and filed by the Secretary of State. So we don't have to wait until January 1st like we do on a lot of initiatives or measures. It becomes effective once it's accepted and filed by the Secretary of State. Should your board wish to establish a board proposed county charter, and I'm just going with that one for now because I think that's the most straightforward way. There are 3 established election dates in 2026, April 14th. There's currently nothing else on that particular election date, so that could be a heavy cost to the county. June 2nd, which is a primary election, and November 3rd, which is a general election. I set forth the timelines here. The April date would also be a big push to get a charter completed and proposed and before your board. It would have to be before your board for approval and to call an election by December 16th. I also set out the June dates here, and that gives us a little more time. It would be combined with another election, and we would have until February 10th to get that before your board in order to call an election. I did not put the November date, but if that's the date, if your board chose to do a charter and wanted that particular date, we would also set forth a similar timeline, counting backwards 88 days from the election date. So conclusions, should your board wish to establish a county charter, the most straightforward process would be to direct staff to return within a specified time period with a draft charter incorporating provisions as requested by your board. Staff will prepare the draft charter, conduct any necessary research, and submit such draft to your board for consideration and direction at a future board meeting. A legal analysis addressing specific provisions would also be provided as appropriate. Alternatively, your board may direct staff to either establish an ad hoc or standing committee to further evaluate the pros and cons of a county charter and to provide recommendations to your board. Or they can request a charter commission be formed with members to be elected who will prepare a charter to be submitted to the voters. Or you can take no action at all or request this matter come back for further consideration. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions you may have.
Wow, thank you so much for that presentation. Supervisor Parley, I see you're punching.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Kendra, unless I missed it, can you tell me what the cost would be for the June election or a guesstimation?
I did not get a guesstimation. They were unable to provide that. They said it depends on numerous factors, but it would be less than the, was it 3.2 or 3.4 million? Because there were other matters on that election, but they couldn't give us an exact cost.
Okay.
I'm gonna think it, I'm hoping at least half of that, if not less.
Okay, well, thank you. So it'd be less.
It'd be less for June, yes, or November.
Thank you. I really like Jeff's comments on the bifurcation of the register of voters, the legislation, the state legislation that we just went through. You know, at one point, it was kind of in doubt. We didn't know if the state was going to approve it or not. And if we would have had this flexibility, we wouldn't have had to go through that, because if the state had not approved it, I think we'd be back in this situation right now anyway, to try and get around a no vote or the governor turning down that legislation. Now, if we are going to do this, looking at the different processes, the Charter Commission, I think, is just another step and maybe another cost. And so if we are going to do it, I think the board process is probably the cleanest way to go. But with that, I just want to hear what my other colleagues have to say.
Thank you, Supervisor Parlier. Gentlemen, Supervisor Peters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Supervisor Parley, for bringing this forward. This is really interesting. It's something I've thought about for a while, the pros and cons of it. And another point to that, and as you're well aware, if there's a vacancy on the board, how that gets filled. And this would ensure at least that we're able to have an election and people are able to fill that role regardless. So there's not an opportunity for the governor to appoint to our board, which would be another benefit of this, as well as some other potential benefits. But idea would be leaning towards maybe forming an ad hoc committee and just getting a little bit more info and digging into it a little bit more. I know there's 14 other charter counties in California, and maybe taking a look at how they've structured that and, you know, what their experience has been with that process, but that would be my suggestion.
Thank you, Supervisor Peters. Supervisor Couch.
Excuse me. I'm going to make a recommendation that you may want me to put in the form of a motion. I would like to proceed, I think we should strongly consider proceeding, let's put it that way, with a board-proposed charter. I think we should take a serious look at it being done on June 2nd of 2026. And what I'm going to suggest is that we copy basically word for word the Shasta County charter that they got adopted, I believe, last year. And it deals with one item and one item only. I don't have any interest in dealing with, well, let me back up and say it this way. I think what we need to put on the ballot for a charter is something is very simple and clean and one item that people can understand. Not that people can't understand lots of things, but I think the more things you put into a charter, the more there is in there for somebody not to like, and it becomes overwhelming or confusing, and people just want to vote no because they don't want to take the time to even read it. I might act the exact same way. I'm not disparaging people, I'm just saying I think that's human nature. The Shasta County ordinance and charter basically gives the board the right to appoint a placement in the event of a vacancy on the Board of Supervisors, and to have an election, have that person run for a re-election or not, but have there be an election at the next general election. I don't think we need to be in a hurry. I don't need this to come back next week. I want us to have plenty of time to think about this. So I'm going to suggest that you bring it back to us in January. I think you said it was February the 10th was a deadline to meet the June 2nd ballot or date. Am I right?
I believe that's correct.
Okay, so that gives us time. We can discuss it and take a look at a draft in January. It gives us a couple of months to think about this in the meantime, and give you direction in January. We may want to amend it. We may want to change it a little bit, and I think it gives us time, if we'd like to pursue an ad hoc committee to consider this and come back with other recommendations. It gives a couple of months' time. Granted, it's during November and December, but it's some time. So that's my recommendation. If you need that to be in the form of a motion.
If I can get a motion on a referral, that would be excellent.
So I'm making that referral, and I'll move the referral.
Supervisor Couch, I am confused by one thing in your referral. Why wouldn't you allow the voters of whatever vacated seat to make that determination? Why would 4 supervisors that don't live in that district be able to make that decision?
Let me be very clear about that.
Okay.
The Shasta County.
I'm talking here, Supervisor Couch. Why in Kern County should supervisors appoint a supervisor over constituents when those constituents can choose themselves?
Do you mind if I answer?
Please.
Okay. The reason I'm referencing Shasta County is because that's what I recommended we adopt. Take a look at adopting word for word, and I'm going to say what it says, because maybe I wasn't clear. It's notwithstanding any other provision of law, whenever a vacancy occurs in the office of supervisor, the board may fill the vacancy by appointment or call a special election.
Okay.
If the board appoints the replacement, the appointee shall be from the qualified electors of the supervisorial district in which such vacancy exists, and shall hold office until the election and qualification of his or her successor. The election of the supervisor to fill the vacancy for the unexpired term shall be held at the next general election, unless the unexpired term expires before the first Monday after January 1st succeeding the election. You get it, there's some timing issues there. The board may decline to fill the vacancy by appointment. In the event that no appointment is made, the vacancy will be filled by election as provided by the terms of this charter. So they lean very heavily towards the election, but they give themselves the opportunity that the board may appoint. So I lean that way as well, but the board may want to appoint someone given the timing. If there's almost 2 years left in a term versus 2 months or 6 months, yeah.
Okay, understood.
That's why I chose that particular charter. And
Okay.
that's the only thing they put in their charter, and I'm, again, stressing that we stick to really one item in our charter, and if future boards want to take up another subject or another issue, I think they're free to do exactly what we're talking about doing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fair enough. Thank you, Supervisor Couch. Supervisor Flores.
The mic wasn't on. Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Parlier, for your comments and the emphasis on the cost, because I think putting it on a June election would be advantageous. I think it would be much less costlier since it's already an election. I appreciate the local autonomy, and ultimately, whatever direction we go, Supervisor Couch, I think that the emphasis, at least I thought I heard, the emphasis is on an election of the people of that district, but there are some nuances with respect to timing. If it's a tighter time frame, the board probably would elect to let go election. If there's a longer time frame, we have the flexibility to appoint. I think that's what I heard, so thank you.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Supervisor Flores. So let me clarify. You have a motion, Supervisor Couch? Can you clarify that?
Yes. It is to refer the item of becoming a charter county to county council or to staff. And the recommendation in the referral is that it be a board-proposed charter, that it mirror the Shasta County model, and that it be brought back for our consideration in January of next year so that we can take action on it if we decide to in plenty of time for the June 2nd, 2026 ballot.
Okay. We have a motion. Supervisor Flores, were you second? Was that a second from you?
Sure. Yeah, thank you
Okay, go
for
ahead.
guiding us.
Thank you. And
Second, I'll
Supervisor Parlier, your thoughts?
Thank you so much. So Kendra, I have a question for you. And I like Philip's comments regarding having ad hoc, but if we do the June election, as far as compressing our abilities to get things done procedurally wise, paperwork and stuff, what's the time frame for that? I mean, June election, you got to back it off several months as far as anticipation of what we're doing, right?
That's correct, Supervisor Parlier through the chair. I think that the January date is doable. We can bring a draft back before your board for discussion and further direction. And if that direction is to proceed with that draft, then we would bring it back before that deadline, and I think it's February 10th, and for your board to approve and adopt an ordinance that would send it to the electors and to hold an election. So I think that timeframe will work, especially if we're looking at a charter that's already been done and approved, and we're just going to be doing something similar. I think we can get that done easily.
But if we went the ad hoc route and that took a few months or several months, would that potentially impact?
As long as we can do that and get it back before your board in final form for approval by that February 10th date. So that might be cutting it just a little close, but it just depends on how quickly the ad hoc can get together and make recommendations.
That requires 2 elections.
No, that would be for an ad hoc committee
that's
as
what I meant.
opposed to a commission, which is voted on by the people. A charter commission is something much different than a committee that your board puts together.
Oh, I see. Okay. So commission is 2 elections.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Kendra.
You're welcome.
Okay. Right. Are there members of the public who would like to weigh in on this matter? If so, now would be the time to do so. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes, I had to check the clock. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and board members. I just want to say, anytime I hear local control of oil, ag, water, and our supervisors who have their feet on the ground in Kern County, taking charge of local issues, I'm in favor of that. So bravo to Charter, and let's move forward on it.
Gotcha. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no other seeing no other local control, I'm going to close the public hearing portion, come back to the board. We have a motion and a second. Supervisor Parlier, that's not right now, right? That was from earlier?
Old punch.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second per Supervisor Couch's articulated motion. We have a second by Supervisor Flores. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay, lengthy but important morning. Thank you very much for your input, your patience, and for the progress that has been made this morning. And we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Supervisor Flores, thank you.
That was a.
We'll be back at 2.